Say that again?
No, you can't see the story. It's not working.
If you're doing a home improvement project,
It doesn't matter, I read. So Colorado Access, did they pay for it or did Medicaid pay for it?
DORA. Actually,
DORA
doesn't pay for anything. It does, well, maybe Colorado Access gives the money then. I'm, like I said,
Medicaid would be the one to buy it, but I need someone who has goddamn information if we're going to do a story. Like real information. Who paid for it? How much was it?
I don't think you're going to find out how much it was. I think they're going to hide behind HIPAA. We got the Medicaid Angel. We're up.
Oh, shit.
Oh, yeah, you got to go there. The Medicaid Angel wants to talk in anonymity also.
Who does?
He doesn't want, he says some of the stuff he says is not, he's not supposed to say
Okay,
anything.
about this case?
About any case and stuff there and stuff. With HIPAA, because of HIPAA.
I understand, but does he know about this case?
Yeah, I told him to talk to him.
Well, he'll talk to us off the record.
No. He gave me to somebody else. Like I said, I've been bounced around 4 times on that. And I was going to send them the picture of her and the tub. I don't think people realize this model tub, like you're saying, Tom, how small it is.
All right, let's keep up the energy today, man. We fucking killed it yesterday.
Ooh, wow.
What are you wowing? Wowzers.
What is Colorado Access?
I don't know, Tom. I don't know exactly what they all do. I don't know. I think
I just want to tell you something, and I mean this only seriously. Stories are way more than just going out with video and saying, "Oh, this is great. We got to get it on the air." I'm serious, because if we're going to start doing this, we're going to start doing it right, because we have to get our facts in a row.
Well, the only fact I went out there
Colorado
for, she said
Access.
she couldn't use the tub, and I verified that woman
It's
can't
fine,
use the tub.
But it's far from a story right now. Far from a story until we get information.
Cyber criminals to hijack sensitive information as ransom for your own data's release. Leveraging Barracuda email security with advanced threat detection can stop a ransomware.
Hey, so George, that's your camera that you would be on. So when you talk, I switch it to you. Yeah, I'm sorry.
So that's basically for the time being, I just kind of hang out and look good. Does that come?
Absolutely. And then when you talk, I switched over there. And then during the breaks, we're still with YouTube and Facebook, just not on the radio.
Yes, yeah, it's not.
Okay, so Colorado Access is part of Medicaid. It's a nonprofit part. It arranges Medicaid when you need it.
Well, they said that Colorado Access does the paying, but
And they won't, they have
They
zero
didn't pay
comment
for- They
HIPAA.
didn't pay for anything.
They just approve it, right?
Hi, I'm Tom Martino, your troubleshooter. Welcome to the show. You know, I think that if I did not have this show, my head would explode into 1,000,000 pieces. And I'm going to tell you why. I was born with a bull detector, a bull shyster detector, and also a justice meter. And I don't know why, but when I feel things are wrong, I can't keep my mouth shut. So I love talking about it here so we can do something about it. And if I didn't have this, I don't know what I would do. Call if you have a problem, question, or complaint. 303-713-TALK, 713-8255. We have found so many liars, cheaters, rip-offs, and scum that would never be exposed because people can't afford attorneys or people can't afford to fight. And people just come here, and then we expose them. If you go to our Facebook, if you go to our referralist.com, if you go to sleazbrigade.com, if you listen to the show, you're going to find these out. Look at our latest videos about Springs Auto and Truck Service Center. Or this latest case we're doing with Bentley Baths. We have uncovered the most sick part of society where they use HIPAA as an excuse not to talk to you, and they use Medicaid funds to just line the pockets of these shysters who sell walk-in tubs at extraordinary profits. And we're going to get on with our show in a minute here about drones, but I have to tell you something. We are uncovering such a scam you won't believe it. First of all, Colorado Access gets Medicaid to pay for walk-in tubs, and these walk-in tubs are overpriced, sadly, and we, the taxpayers, are paying probably triple the price we should for them. And then the elderly people get them, fine, right? But we're wasting money. And the next thing is this Bentley Baths, they went on TV, I have it on tape, we are careful to select the appropriate appliance for our customer, for our client. They sold a woman who literally across is about 36 inches. They sold her a tub with an 18-inch door. By the way, they do make walk-in tubs where the whole side opens up and you can sit down comfortably. She can't fit through the door, let alone the tub itself is too thin. Then Bentley Baths, you know what this jerk says on the phone when Mark gets him on the phone? We were only doing what the state tells us. That is a lot of bull. First of all, what you need, the state needs to prescribe it, or a doctor needs to prescribe it, or a medical person needs to say you need a walk-in tub, that it's good for your health, or you can't use a regular tub. That opens up Medicaid, okay? But they don't tell you how to install it. They don't tell you which model to put in. They just say a walk-in tub is appropriate in this case. So Bentley Baths is hiding behind that, saying, well, the state, this is a state deal. We just installed it for the state. You liars. You didn't install it for the state. You made a sale with a woman who called you, and then you told her how to get it approved, and she went to an occupational therapist who approved it. And now you're telling me it's some big medical procedure and you can't talk about it. You're saying that the reason you installed that tub is you were instructed to by the state, and you installed it the way the state told you to install it. That is all a bunch of bull. Now you tell me the state is fine with the installation. Well, that's true. There's nothing wrong with the installation. It's a tub. It's a fine-looking tub. It just doesn't fit her. How can you sell something to someone that doesn't fit? It would be like selling a crutch to somebody, or a wheelchair that is so small they can't fit in it. Would that be appropriate? If the state says somebody needs a wheelchair, does that mean you can sell them a baby wheelchair? Of course not. You sell them an appropriate wheelchair. But in my opinion, all Bentley Baths cares about is money. They overcharge you for crap. And here's the deal. This guy has the nerve to say he's an advocate for seniors. We have given him every opportunity to address this. That bath should have never been sold to that woman, but no one cares because Medicaid paid for it. It came out of your tax dollars. And he just hides behind HIPAA. Well, we can't discuss this. It's a medical matter. You know what? I think he's scum. That's my opinion on this deal. Oh, nothing wrong with the tub itself. Now, we can get into separately the whole issue about how overpriced they are, but I'm not going to get into that now because there's nothing wrong with overcharging for something. There really isn't. There's no law against it. He can double, triple, quadruple charges, and he has the nerve to call what he does quality and value. Now, granted, the idea of the walk-in tub is a great idea. It does keep seniors in their homes for years. I think it's a great idea. Maybe I'll need one someday. Who knows? But I'll tell you this. When he's on TV, Colorado and Company, Colorado's Best, Haystack, when he's on these TV shows, you know what he does? He talks about the safety aspects. He doesn't talk about the real deal. Like you could do this probably for 1/10 of the cost of what we charge. He talks about the safety and always dances around the cost and the appropriateness because he does not care about appropriateness, and I can prove it with this case. We are going to be all over this. I'm not letting it go. This is such a ripoff, I can't believe it. This woman can't even use her bathroom thanks to Bentley Baths, and he blames Medicaid for it. It's a bunch of crap. I can't stand people like this. They go on these TV shows and they act like they are the coming of Christ, and they sell you overpriced models of everything. And it's not just baths. I am sick and tired of charlatans. And I swear to God I'm going to spend the rest of my life exposing them. It sucks. Now, I'm not talking about just normal commerce. There's nothing wrong with it. But when you take advantage of people, it makes me sick. And I'm telling you, Mark, did Bentley Baths take advantage of this woman in your opinion?
She weighs 350 to 400 pounds. She can't fit through the door. She physically can't get in the tub. If she got into the tub, she can't sit down in the tub.
So here's the deal. How can somebody say, in all honesty, that they sold this woman something appropriate? It is absolutely wrong. It's wrong, wrong, wrong. And to get paid $16,000 for it, nobody cares except that woman. She can't use it.
And all we get is, we can't talk to you about it, HIPAA. We can't talk to you about it, HIPAA. We can't give you any information. We can't do this. We can't do that.
And then these so-called problem solvers at Fox 31 go out and do a story on it. They do a story not about the inappropriateness of the tub, the fact that she can't take a bath. Yes, she can't use it. You notice, though, in their story, they never mention Bentley Baths. Not once did they mention it. They mentioned Colorado Access. Why didn't they mention Bentley Bath? Because he's an advertiser on that station. That's why. And their whole story was, you know how they problem solved? They got her a shower at a local hotel. That was how they solved the problem. Well, sit back, amateur high school journalism majors, and let me show you how you solve a problem. You do it by installing what's appropriate, and you get the money back. That's how you do it. And then you go after the wrongdoer. That's how you solve problems on Mr. Problem Solver over at Fox 31, whoever the hell you are. Now, here's the deal. We are going to go after Bentley Baths, and we're going to expose them and the entire industry for what they are. Joe, what's your comment?
Tom, I'm sure you heard the phrase implied warranty of merchantability.
Yeah.
And there's actually a federal statute. If you just Google those words, you come up with the name of the federal act.
Except it truly is a walk-in tub, and it truly does function, though, Joe. You see, that's the deal. It is a good... The tub itself is fine.
No, but it was intended to allow her to take a bath. So, and they knew that, and I called in once before about the guy sold me some hay that wasn't fit for my horses. They knew what the intended purpose was. It was so this woman could take a bath. That was the intended purpose. It doesn't meet that intended purpose. Therefore, they're in violation of both state and federal law.
Okay, Joe, thank you. You know what? I'll use any ammunition I can. Now, Mark, when you were on the phone with this guy from Bentley Baths,
Troy!
He literally said, this is like a broken record, guys.
Well, my favorite part.
He says, we only did, here's what he said.
Go.
We only did what the state recommended.
Numerous times.
Do you think the state literally picked out that tub?
Of course not. And here's the other thing.
Here's what they say. You need a ramp. You need a tub.
Yes.
You need this. You need that.
And here's qualified vendors.
You're right.
The biggest thing he kept saying that was driving me crazy in that video is, my hands are tied, my hands are tied, my hands are tied.
Bentley Baths could go out there and swap out that tub on their own if they wanted to. But in my opinion, they are too greedy.
And if you're on Facebook, we're going to have a picture of George Bentley and Bentley Baths up there very shortly.
We're going to have a video on this. We're going to expose this whole thing. I am sick and tired of liars. I am sick and tired of them.
You know, that poor woman asked for him when I was there on the phone, and soon as the guy, Troy, that answered said, who's calling? She gave her name, and then you know what he says? He's not here now, and he's going to be out of town next week.
Yeah. He makes it look like he cares so much about his customers. You can't even get, she can't even get a hold of him. Now, let's get on to our topic of the day, drones. Drones, you know what they say about the next big thing. Drones, one of them. Another one, 3D printing. Another one, in about 10 years, graphene. G-R-A-P-H-E-N-E. That's a whole different story. I am on the forefront of researching technologies. I am way behind when it comes to drones. You know why?
You're missing the biggest one, though.
I saw them, and I said, are these going to be a big deal?
Self-driving cars.
Well, that's true. That's true. And here's the deal. With drone technology, you can't even imagine the benefits and the risks and the dangers, the commerce, every category of consumerism is covered with drones. They're good and they're bad. But I'll tell you this seriously, and I mean this. I was walking Washington Park and saw a drone just whiz by, went up to about 400 feet, went up to about 500, drove around and took off where I couldn't even see it anymore. I don't know where the pilot was. But I know they have systems now that can pilot drones up to 5 miles. Now, here's the deal. And of course, let's not even talk about the guys that pilot drones in the Mideast from Vegas. Let's talk about the drones we all know and love, the recreational and commercial drones. And let's talk about one thing, what they can do for us, what they can do to us. I want to talk about the technology, the fun, the risks, the benefits. I want to talk about it all. But I know, as I was saying, when I saw this at Washington Park, I thought, you know what? When I fly a helicopter, and it's not because of me personally being a helicopter pilot, I'm thinking about all helicopters. There are tons of helicopters in the sky doing traffic, medical, evac, they're doing all kinds of stuff.
Pipelines.
And I have pipeline inspections. I have no idea how an amateur drone pilot flying around Denver is going to keep the skies safe. I don't understand it. Because all someone has to do is get a drone and they can kill me in about 5 minutes. So I don't understand it. That I want to talk about too coming up.
This report is brought to you by CSU Online MBA.
There's a couple of highway crashes, a couple of off-highway crashes. Crews are still working on that.
So we're just going to kind of just start going and see where it goes. You know what's going to happen. You're going to get a bunch of probably negative people coming in, calling in and saying, hey, well, you know, what about the spying on me and this and that. So
Yeah,
whatever.
Our audience isn't that whacked out.
Cool.
I keep forgetting to call Ryan.
Even the police are way back on this. They're not. I can't believe they don't have drones to oversee a hostage situation or any situation. But they don't. They're not.
Well,
they're looking into it.
They're getting there.
They're getting
gradually. Some, you know, it's spotty. But yeah, believe me, I've been meeting with police departments since 2012. Trying to put this stuff together.
I just want to reiterate Jeff Cozart from Juniper Unmanned.
Yeah.
He is the expert in drones. He even teaches a class.
Well, I want him to tell me all
college.
about the new ones in Dubai that fly from rooftop to rooftop as taxis.
Yeah.
He knows all the public policy regulations, the systems. He teaches at the college about them.
He's writing the curriculum at the college. He wrote
So-
the curriculum. So
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's the man when it comes to this stuff.
Thank you.
Just-
I've been
No,
trying
I
to get that point across, but you're
No,
not.
I want to be sure Tom knows that. And I told
He
Jeff,
is
I'm
the
like,
boss.
don't humble yourself here. I need
Yeah.
to know the deal. What
And
do
tell
you
him,
know?
tell him, make it fun.
Hey, Ryan, it's Mark.
Yeah.
I've got the Mercedes
Okay. I'll
experts
go
and
and call
everything lined up. I need to sit down and talk to you. I want to get this case filed quick so I can go
I'm
serve
just
this
here.
clown. Just tack on all the attorney's fees possible. I mean, whatever's reasonable, if you will.
Tom,
But give me a call back. Let's
I
meet
just
right
wanna
after the
reiterate
show.
Jeff
If you're going to
Cozart.
be
He
over at
is
your office, I'll
the
shoot
expert
over.
on public
Call me back,
policy, on how they're manufactured. He even is writing the curriculum and teaching college
Okay,
classes on
please send me
unmanned
the picture
drones.
so I can
Okay?
send that.
So he
Of those
knows everything.
you know,
It's just
the
so
Oh,
you-
yeah.
Okay.
In fact,
Also-
did I take them right on here?
Good.
I did.
Also, the
Tom, are you
guy,
good? Is everything
In fact,
okay?
let's put them up on.
Did you see line 1, Mark? You
We
were
can
just
tease that.
explaining that whole thing to me.
What? Oh, this is a great one. Did they come through and pay everything? Good.
Yep. Yeah. You remember you were just explaining that to me. That whole problem.
They were they were digging in too. They were being idiots.
Listen, I have to tell you something. They specifically told me first back check to the UCC. They said, we do not want to have 2 lives down at the building. That's what they told me.
Why, did you hear back from him?
I gotta ask, you know what? I'm gonna ask the rest.
The guy's a fucking idiot, right? Okay, well, I can't wait to go down there and see it. Just get me in the building, I'll go down. We can go down, that's fine, but I still gotta get in there and get somebody.
I agree.
Let's just get in there. I mean, whatever we gotta do to get in there.
Who's that nice guy, that rep?
Me?
The rep for online.
Dan?
Who's that really nice rep? I'm gonna ask his name.
I don't know who Plum Line's rep.
He's such a good guy. I forget his. I mean, I don't.
Was it Jonathan?
Do you like? Should I put this one up for Bentley Baths?
Does he got a mustache?
Does that mean they're calling him?
There's a guy that's got him.
Should I put that up?
That's fine, but
That's his younger.
I put a tagline: walk-in therapy tubs that you can't use. Something like that.
Well, I can put that in there. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I hate when my mind goes, Jack. It's Jack.
It's your age, man.
I hate when my mind goes. Well, it is. Do you know what? It really
Your
is.
mind's like a steel trap.
It really is. My age. It happens. Do you find yourself forgetting a little shit here and there?
I always have,
Or not.
but I don't have the memory that you have. Suzanne's got a great memory too.
I remember certain things like yesterday.
I think he'll say it's age, but it's really.
Maybe mine was so
You just got
sharp
so much
that I
in there.
noticed.
You got so much in there.
You very well could be right. We were sitting here one time and he blurted something out I did 20 years ago, and I was like, I totally forgot about it. And I'm the one that did it.
I just wish he knew more about Seinfeld than he does.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Seinfeld trivia lacks everything.
I'm Tom Martino.
Welcome to the show. 303-713-TALK. I promise you that we will investigate all problems, questions, and complaints and come up with a conclusion. And if we think you can use help and we can make a difference, we will do it with all of our resources. Attorneys, accountants, health professionals, doctors, whatever it takes. That is what I have assembled with Referralist.com. And I'm proud that we have recovered millions and millions of dollars in cash, merchandise, exchanges, refunds, and services. I probably should have gotten on drones a long time ago. I like to talk about drones. I want to talk about the entire industry. I think, in my humble opinion, the biggest really advance in drones, I know this sounds silly, but I'm not kidding, is if you know how they operate, the biggest advance in a drone is what I call the idle hover. Meaning, when you used to take off a drone, you were in constant fly mode. If you wanted to hover, you had to literally do it with the controls. In other words, you had to actively hover it. And so, if you got confused, didn't know where you were, you wanted to look around with the camera, it was difficult. I mean, it really was, because you were always thinking. Then the active hover, or the passive hover, or the automatic hover, like I took marks and we were flying and I didn't know where I was. I just lost track. I couldn't see it. It was way out. So I just take my hands off the controls and it'll stay there for 20 minutes. And when the battery gets low, it'll come home and land. So I was able then to reestablish where I was, which direction I wanted to go, and it was an amazing phenomenon. I mean, I know that sounds simple and stupid, but it is. It is a wonderful option to be able to take off and not worry about always flying. You can just relax and look around and get your bearings. Does that sound silly to you?
I love it. It's so easy.
No, but
to
what I
fly.
mean is, without that, you don't know what it is. You've never flown one without that.
No, and then, of course, most of them now have, like, I call it a panic button. If you really lose where it is,
Right.
you just say, hey, come home.
We have some guests with us today. I'm going to let Jeff explain what he does. He got in on drones pretty early, and he's with Juniper Unmanned. That is a for-profit company, but I imagine he also does a lot of work not-for-profit. So, Jeff, in a nutshell, just quickly, your personal background, how did you get into drones?
So, Tom, I actually got into the drone industry in about 2009. So this was a time when very few people were fully aware of drones. But I have a geospatial or survey background, and I was doing survey work in Mexico and realized how much work I was putting into literally sometimes crawling through the jungles to get to a survey point. When I first saw the drone and I saw the maps that they were able to make with drones, survey quality mapping, I recognized that within a day that the drone was able to produce the kind of data that was sometimes taking me 4 to 6 weeks to produce using traditional survey techniques.
And Jeff,
so
Jeff, just
as a game changer.
That is so logical that you would see that as a surveyor. And then I look at the aerial photography business. I mean, we would have people hire helicopters. You're not going to get a helicopter under $800 an hour. And they would go up and take a few shots or TV news or whatever. Now, if you want to take pictures, you just take a drone and go do it. I've seen, and you probably did too, Jeff, have you noticed in the movies, you'll say, that's a drone shot, that's a drone shot, that's a drone shot. Have you done that?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, really, they don't use,
amazing.
I don't think they use helicopters at all anymore, do they?
Well, it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense to use a helicopter when the cost of the drone and operating the drone is so much less expensive. The safety, you're taking out a lot of the safety.
I know. It's amazing.
Better shots.
So you started using it in surveying. Now, then how did that move into a business, Juniper? What does Juniper do?
Well, what I recognized pretty early on was that it's fairly challenging to operate in compliance with the regulatory environment, especially back then when regulations were so restrictive that it took a level of expertise. And I developed that expertise with a set of colleagues out of the United States.
But what do you do? What does the company do?
We enable people to operate safely, effectively, and in compliance with the law.
In other words, if I want to establish a drone operation in my company, let's say I'm an insurance company and I want to equip my adjusters, I would go to you and you tell me how to set it up?
We would help you set it up. We would be there to coach and guide and to work with the FAA to develop your standard operating procedures, to develop your workflows, so that you're getting the results that you were looking for.
So, Jeff,
that promise out of the drone.
So, Jeff, there are many companies using drones. I'd like to go over roughly what they are and what they're using them for, and then I want to talk about recreational drones and a whole bunch of other things. I also have, in addition to Jeff Cozart, I have John Lord with us, and he does insurance, among other things, but his specialty was insurance and aviation, and now he insures drones. Do you really need insurance? We'll talk about that. Tom, what do you have to say, Tom? Oh, I disconnected Jeff by mistake. We got to get him back. It's my fault. I'll lock him in. Go ahead, Tom. What's going on?
Actually, I do have a drone as well, and I use it for my agriculture. I own a ranch out here in Byers, and I just use it to check. I'm kind of a novice with it, certainly not to the advanced degree that your guests are, but I use it in that same fashion as the surveying guy, in that I use it to check on my fields, I use it to check on my cows.
Man, I mean, think about that.
I think that's illegal, though.
Why?
I don't know, because what I hear every time we talk about drones is every single thing I do with it is illegal. So I'm assuming what he's doing is illegal.
Out in the country? No, we'll talk about that. John Lord, is that illegal?
No, that's not illegal at all, as long as he's not doing it commercially. So as long as he's not putting himself out there for hire.
So you can fly it pretty much anywhere you want, long as it's not commercially?
Anywhere.
Within the approved airspace below 400 feet. Yes, you can.
It has to be. So,
that's so different than everything else
what airspace is that?
Well, you've got to be outside, and Jeff can really speak on the airspaces better, but you've got to be out 5 miles outside of an airport, and then outside of, Jeff, I think, are you back on?
No, we'll get him back on.
Okay.
We'll do all of that coming right up. I'm Tom Martino, 303-713-TALK, 713-8255. We're talking about drones, drone technology, and, of course, I'll take all of your problems, questions, and complaints.
That'll have everybody saying how it's illegal.
Ever since they changed the airspace criteria, I have not kept up with the A, B, C, D. Well, they went from terminal, remember back in the...
You mean like terminal control and
all that shit?
Yeah, it's nothing. Yeah,
it's about 5 miles outside airports and then outside like Class B airspace. You're shooting for Class G airspace is where you're looking for. Is the safest, but you can work in others. Jeff can really speak on that because that's what they do all the time. They know exactly how to get around airspace.
I know what airspace is. I just don't know what
The drone airspace is.
Exactly. And that's
There's just class A, B, C, and D, and E and G. There's not an F, I don't think. No. So there's A. Class A is basically all IFR traffic above 18,000. Class B is big giant airports. That B stands for big.
Yeah.
C is for what I call crowded airports, not the really big ones. D is for medium stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically 5 miles outside of an airport, and then outside of your approaches and
Class G has to be under 700 feet. You said 400.
Well, no, you can't operate a drone above 400 feet.
Oh, a drone.
You also can't operate a drone without having it visually in sight.
You have to be visual in the U.S. today.
So if they want to take off and look at their cows a mile away,
Well,
they can't do it.
Plus you get a bigger battery on it.
Well, it depends. See, no, what he's talking about doing is he's talking about looking at a field. So he's driving out to a field. I know tons of guys that do it.
So you have to have your drone within visual range?
Always in the U.S.
I'm telling you, what that guy's doing is illegal. I don't care what anybody. That's my whole point. Everything is. When I fly mine over there, it's illegal. When I fly mine in Franktown, the second it's above my trees, I can't see it anymore. It's illegal.
It's an issue.
Anytime you fly over a house, it's illegal.
Well,
it's incredible. You really can't fly a drone anywhere. That's the bottom line. You can go out in Denver. I think there's one place, Cherry Creek Dam, that you can fly at least.
No, don't go to the dams because they're all controlled by the federal government. That's all one.
No, there's one place. Where's that?
Oh, Chatfield.
No, not Chatfield. No, it is. It's Cherry Creek. Cherry Creek Dam at the RC Park.
Even if you have bone-on-bone or been told surgery is the only option, you make...
Or is it, no, Cherry Creek Reservoir.
Yeah, but
I don't know where I'm coming
Mark
up
was
with that.
almost tongue-in-cheek, and he's right. I mean, almost everything you do is illegal.
Oh, man, last time we talked about drones and I said I flew mine out here, I had 50 emails pointing out why it was illegal in 50
Well, you're within 5 miles of Centennial Airport here, right? Correct?
No.
No.
No way. There's no way.
Lunch?
Lunch.
I know this is a Centennial airspace. I
Well,
absolutely know.
Centennial,
I
you're thinking
fly
DIA.
it. I fly it all the
Centennial,
time.
absolutely.
Mark, I fly it all the time, and I have to call in here.
I don't understand why when we were out here then, mine will tell me about the private airport in Franktown, but it doesn't warn me about this one.
We are in Class C airspace right here.
Okay.
Mortgage is at 3%.
Oh, because of approaches?
3.28%.
Okay.
It's an upside-down wedding cake.
With an APR of 3.328%. Call American
Yeah, I get
Residential.
you. Yeah, I get you.
922-1100. 844-922-1100. Or on the
We
web
need
at
her
bestloanscolorado.com. That's bestloanscolorado.com.
Say that again?
Rates
We need her
call
permission?
844-922-1100.
Laurel.
$300,000 loan amount rate.
Well, let's talk about it.
I own the picture. I took the picture.
It doesn't
I'm
matter.
having us out. That's for line 4. He got only the
She gave us implied consent anyway when she did the interview.
She wants it.
I'd like to take that Jeffco Ranger. So I got yelled at by a Jeffco Ranger for growing up, and I know exactly what they're going to say. I'd like to see what Jeff has to say about it.
About what?
Because what they're going to say is that you can't operate drones over Jeffco open space. Okay?
I am telling you, you're going to have everybody in the world call up and tell you it's illegal to fly them anywhere.
FAA controls airspace.
Victims for years, and I can help you.
Okay? You can't take off the land from the ground, but you can fly over it.
I don't think he's talking about it.
597-4500.
Jeffco Ranger, Park Ranger Warner, okay?
I don't think we discussed it.
Because that's a big issue for those guys. Tons of people are going out there, and I've been yelled at myself.
To talk about all the different ways
shoot off
your
rockets.
dream house come true. That's Sundays at 9 a.m.
Everyone's little model rocket.
Yeah.
Henson Claims Racers. At Henson.
I love drones, but I don't have it.
happens while you're at work today, you'll hear
Listen,
all about it this afternoon.
You don't have to be afraid of them. At the end of the day, what do we have for regulatory?
Nothing.
6 people at the FAA.
I fly mine all the time. All the time. But I'm in the middle of nowhere. If mine falls, it's hitting a tree.
Hi, Tom Martino here, flying music for our drone show. By the way, One Clear Choice Garage Doors should be your clear choice.
For garage doors, it's that easy. OneClearChoiceDoors.com. For everything. He's got all his prices on the website. OneClearChoiceDoors.com. Listen, we're doing a drone show today, and I want to mention that we have other callers, and I need to take Steve because he has an urgent problem that he started yesterday with. Steve, what's going on with you, Steve?
Hey, Tom. Thanks for taking the call.
Yes, you got a summons.
Yeah, Sunday night, sitting at home, 9:30 p.m., knock on the door, and my wife and I are both served with separate summons. Summons to answer, it's referring to a date of service 3/2/2012 with Thornton Imaging.
So here's what I don't understand. It's a summons to respond. What does that mean? You mean it's just basically a summons. It's a lawsuit.
Well, that's yeah. It says summons to answer, gives us a court date.
You're being sued. Okay, so you're being sued.
Okay.
Okay, so what is your question about being sued?
Well, my question is, the first thing you asked me yesterday was, do I owe it? And at the time, I couldn't tell you because I had called the insurance company.
It's medical imaging, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's an X-ray.
Okay, so
Now,
do you owe it to the best of your knowledge? And then we're also going to talk about what you can demand. I remember the call and I said, what can you demand as far as documentation? So go ahead and tell me what your concern is.
Well, my concern is, at this point, the money isn't enough to really worry about.
Well, how much is it?
Not like $200.
Okay, what do they say it's for?
They say it
sounds like a
is-
copay to me.
Yeah, exactly. Plaintiff collection of the amount of $167 plus interest.
Yeah, sounds like a
provided
copay.
to the- yeah. Now, after I spoke to you yesterday, I did get a call back from the imaging company, and they went further back in their records, and we found out I'm the one with the medical problem. It's not my wife, but it is actually her, and we did get a piece of paper showing, or a fact showing, that we did have the service.
Okay,
Whether or
who
not
had the
I actually
service?
paid my wife did.
Okay.
And whether or not we actually paid that copay, I couldn't tell you at this point. I'd just like this to just go away.
Then pay it.
And I don't.
Call them and pay it.
So who do I call?
Well, you were summoned, so what you ought, there's an attorney's name on there. So you can answer it, or before. Don't let it go by without answering it.
No.
But if you can, within the 21 days, if you can contact the attorney, make payment, and then they'll file a motion for dismissal, and that'll be it.
Okay.
I mean,
my worry was, in reading this, it seemed like anything I would do would cause more money. If I were to answer this, I'd have to pay a filing fee.
Well, no matter what, when you call the attorney, it may be court costs involved. There may be court costs.
And attorney's fees.
Yeah. So you have, but you have to call the attorney on the summons.
Gotcha.
It says such and such through their attorney or through their agent, blah, blah, blah.
Right. One statement in the last 5 years might have cleared this up right away. But I don't even remember the appointment.
Here's what's weird about this, okay? This is what's weird, Steve, is that they don't have to really remind you owe money. They only have to send one statement.
Yeah, true.
Now, here's the deal. Get it taken care of before that 21 days expires. Then make sure you get a filed motion for dismissal and it's dismissed, or you show up, or you answer that summons. Now, it's a bigger question. What can you demand from creditors? Nothing. You can demand documentation, but they don't have to give it to you. Honest to goodness, they don't. It's courtesy, they should, but they don't have to. Not really. Now, they do have to abide by your wishes not to call you at work, or I believe you can turn down all phone calls and just say written communication only. But let's clarify that. Suzanne, let's clarify the Fair Debt Collection Act. But I don't want to do it today because we have our drone show. Could you get one of our collectors on for tomorrow to clarify the fair debt collection practices? That would be good. Okay, 303-713-TALK. Let's talk to Jeff Cozart with Juniper Unmanned. He is basically a drone expert, can help your company play by the rules. And in general, Jeff, Mark laughingly said everything you do with your drone is illegal. Let's take the guy who says he uses it for his farm to check on his cows and irrigation and stuff, and he does it for farming, and he's out in the country. So what about the farmer? Is he within the law?
If he follows the rules that are established by the FAA, he can fly.
What are the basic rules?
legally.
What are the basic rules?
So the basic rules under what they call Part 107, which is the FAA's rule framework, are that he needs to be at least 5 miles away from an airport, and that he should not fly over 400 feet, and that he should always
That's
keep,
400 feet
visual
above
contact.
ground, obviously. So 400 feet, what they call AGL, or above ground, and then he has to be 5 miles away from an airport. What else?
And he has to maintain visual line of sight of the aircraft.
Okay, that's the hard part. So basically, if you don't see it, you're illegal.
That's correct.
Okay. And that's for everyone?
That's under this Part 107 framework. You can get a waiver from the FAA to fly under other conditions, including flying beyond line of sight. So you can fly outside of the line of sight.
But under Part 107, can you have commercial operations?
Yes, you may.
Okay, so 5 miles, 400 feet limit, AGL. What else?
You can't fly at night. There's a number of other operating
Just the big ones. At night's a big one. No night flying.
The biggest one is that you have to have a license from the FAA. You have to obtain a Part 107 remote pilot certificate.
What is that?
It's like a pilot license, except it doesn't require any testing of the actual flight. It's a written test.
Okay, and Mark, do you have one?
No.
Or do you refuse to answer under the grounds it may tend to incriminate you?
Yeah, maybe. But no, I don't have one.
Well, you need one.
Well, Mark doesn't need one because he's not operating commercially.
Oh,
that's only like
commercial.
If I was a realtor like Frank and wanted to use it to take pictures, I'd have to have it.
Well, Jeff, that's a big one then. You don't need any licensing if you just do it for fun.
It's if you are a recreational operator. Now, the situation that you mentioned is that this person is a farmer, that they're using it within their farming operation. That would require a license from the
And
FAA.
I'm going to go back to what I said. He's breaking the law.
Yeah.
Anybody that flies a drone is pretty much breaking the law.
Well, not anyone. You're not.
The second, my drone's this big, you've seen it.
Yeah.
The second it's over my trees, I can't see it anymore.
Okay.
No matter how I want to look at it.
Or you go off and above 400 feet.
Well, I don't.
Okay. But, okay. Go ahead.
So I'm going to ask you, Tom, as a helicopter pilot, how does that make you feel if you've got drones out there that you can't see that are operating?
Well, no,
Let's talk about the risk standpoint.
I'm not upset. I'm very mindful of it. I mean, I truly think about it all the time now. I never used to think about it because there are a lot of guys and kids, young people, that'll grab a drone and they don't give a second thought to it. They might even think it's cool to be near aircraft. I don't know. I mean, people are nuts, just like they did with the laser pens. They started pointing it at airplanes.
Here, listen to this one, 107. No operations from a moving vehicle are allowed. You can't fly it over anybody that's not directly participating in the operation. You can't fly it under a covered structure. I swear to God, if you read 107, you can't fly drones.
Well, he's saying it's very restrictive, Jeff. What do you think?
Well, I agree that it is very restrictive, but if you operate with a good standard operating procedure, and it is possible to follow those rules. We do legal flights from a drone every day.
Okay.
It happens every day, and it can be done legally. But you're right, it is restrictive, and most people that are operating, I would be in agreement, are operating outside of the rule of law.
Yeah, that's the point he's making, and I think he's right. It is an amazing thing to watch this unfold.
Hey, ask him what a pilot in command is.
I'll tell you what that is coming back. It's really easy. Okay, so I want to tell you about Wink and Wink bankruptcy attorneys that I hope you never, ever need to use this number. 303-410-1720. A husband-wife team. If you get medical bills beyond what you can handle, if you have a divorce, a death in the family, unemployment, whatever it is, Mike and Gigi Wink are there. 303-410-1720.
From L&L heating and air conditioning.
Well, it says other requirements under 107. If you are acting as a pilot in command, you must make your drone available to the FAA for inspection or testing on request.
That's all it means is you're the pilot in command.
You must provide any associated records required to be kept under the rule. You must report to the FAA within 10 days any operation that results in injury.
Now, Mark, remember, what you're talking about here is a commercial operation, aviation commercial operation. The restrictions here are 1,000 what they are for a true Part 135 for Part 121 operation, right? So they're very, it's actually working pretty darn well. And it's keeping the average Joe from just running out and starting with a commercial operation.
Supposed to,
yeah, right.
This offer won't last long. Buy your tickets May 2nd through May.
You like that, Mark?
Live only happens once. Don't miss out. Visit livenation.com.
No, I think it's actually working pretty well right now.
From Ideal Home Loans, Brent,
400 feet. It's pretty good.
You can accomplish a lot.
Many people have
400
a loan.
feet.
They paid it down. They don't want to start over.
You know, ISR ops, or you know, you start going anything above 400 feet.
But there really hasn't been one reported accident from a drone and a commercial, and an aircraft.
While still paying your house off as scheduled originally.
There is potentially one, but it's not even in the States.
On our interest rate guarantee.
But that's when it all begins. And that's when my school gets excited. No, it was into an Airbus, I believe. Let me pull it out and see. But there's argument whether it was a drone or, you know, you don't know if it could have been a hand-flown RC or it could have been something else. They don't really know yet for sure what it was. I tell you, there's multiple a day sightings. So near misses.
Ideal Home Loans for your next Ideal Home Loan.
Children's Hospital, Colorado Mighty Millions raffle. Over 6,000 prizes.
But that's when it gets interesting on the insurance side.
Absolute final deadline is only 3 days away. Get your tickets now at mightymillionsraffle.com.
As exciting as insurance.
I love how Spriggs Auto Truck just keeps going and going. I just love it. God, they're idiots.
What's happening now?
Oh, now they're saying, oh, the show's, here's exactly what he put. He puts, Tom Martino's referral list is a scam show put on by the scam artist. When I try to post to their accusations, they delete that.
You know what that sounds like, right?
Yeah.
Kalen Eccles.
No, it sounds like the 44th Auto.
Oh, God.
Same thing.
It's the same thing. They just dig in. We'll see who's out of business, bud. Let's see, 38 years in running, or, a bunch of idiots.
They are idiots. I mean, why don't they just do the right thing?
I have no idea why they won't. They dug in so hard on this. You realize we've got the service manager, documented everything. The technician at Mercedes, everything. They got us an outside expert who works directly for Mercedes, who has no dog in the fight, okay? And I'm meeting with Ryan Wood later on. So I can't wait till I can't get it filed quick enough because I want him to pay attorney's fees.
Significantly reduced settlements that can reduce your liability by thousands of dollars. These unique programs have been allocated to help the economy and substantially reduce or eliminate your tax burden. If you're approved and qualified, the IRS will stop the collections against you. Don't feel overwhelmed. Please call the consumer hotline to see if you qualify. 800-535-3780.
What's that?
Stop the wage garnishments, levies, and tax liens now. If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS, you may qualify for substantial relief and even forgiveness. See if you qualify and get the help you need by calling the consumer hotline, 800-535-3787. That's 800-535-3787. 800-535-3787.
This is your wallet. This is $1,000 to make your wallet great again. Any questions? Of course you don't have questions. I was very clear, right?
Listen weekdays beginning at 6 a.m. to win $1,000 every hour on the hour and make your wallet great again.
My wallet is always great. It's a Trump wallet. How could it not be great?
Text the keyword to win $1,000 every hour on the hour.
Believe me.
On 630 KHOW.
iHeartRadio is the easy-to-use app for music and radio. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
Michael Brown, afternoons 4 to 7.
Michael Moore is taking his act to Broadway, all in an attempt to bring down a sitting president. The left has truly gone wackadoodle. Join me at 4 o'clock for more Irreverent Talk Radio.
Hi, Tom Martino, your troubleshooter. We were discussing off the air how idiotic
This Springs Auto and Truck Service Center is. Now, you got to understand something. We have absolutely no dog in this fight. We help people.
They called us.
A guy comes to us, and his $16,000 engine was blown as a result of Springs Auto and Truck Service Center. They just installed a turbo the wrong way. There is no doubt in our mind. Mark, go through the experts.
Oh, my God.
Just go through them.
Mercedes technician who's actually putting the new engine in.
Right.
Yep. The Mercedes service manager who's worked for Mercedes forever and a day, specializes in diesel. Then an independent trainer from Mercedes that literally doesn't even work for the dealership putting the new one in. So those three are expert witnesses saying they did not clean the intercooler, and that's what caused the runaway.
Right.
Point blank.
Period. Done.
And they want to dig in like a bunch of idiots.
Now, we literally retrieved parts from the old turbo to prove it. Now,
we got everything documented, not only on
He
film.
lied out and out, lied, saying he was there when they cleaned it. Now, he lied. Not only that, he's lying now. He says, now you see, this always happens. First, anger. First, anger.
Yes.
Whenever we confront people, anger, then attack.
Yes.
They always attack us. And then they try to reason. And then eventually they either go out of business or they accept it and change.
How many times have we been in here, and how many ones fought it like they're trying to fight it
here's
for
what
no
they do.
reason?
They try to attack me. I love it, or you, or the show. Why attack
Everything
us?
but the problem.
We're absolutely on the consumer side. We have absolutely no reason to make things up about you. We never even heard of you before this. All you had to do was the right thing. Springs Auto and Truck Service Center should be avoided at all costs.
Oh, my God.
At all costs.
If you see 719-382-0363 pop up on your caller ID, just run like hell. In fact, get rid of the phone.
Now listen, Mark, it's on Facebook, the video.
Oh, everywhere.
All right, okay. I want people to go to Facebook and see the story and tell me straight up if we're wrong. There is no way we're wrong. And here's what's weird.
And Daryl, the manager, call in right now. Every time we try to get him, he won't come on.
Here's the thing about...
And then he lies about messages.
Here's the thing about the service center. They're not disputing that they did it wrong. They're just denying, but they're not saying what they did. They're just not saying. We have them dead to right.
Well, according to Matt, who is the person that owns the van, all they say is it's not our fault. It was a problem that was there before you brought us a vehicle.
That's what he's trying to say. It was a defective engine. That's why it ran away.
And remember, that lying little scumbag, in my opinion, Daryl, also said to us on the radio the one time, I was there when they cleaned the intercooler.
All right, now listen, we got a lot to talk about. We're talking about drones, but we also have other business. Like Mark has a follow-up from Kia. Explain what happened. Originally, what happened is Peak Kia, they cut... your spare tire mechanism was not operating properly, right?
Yeah, the tow truck driver that changed the tire used the impact gun on the mechanism that lowers and raises the spare tire.
And then Peak Kia, in order to get you on the road again, cut the cable. Is that right?
Yeah, because they didn't have the part in stock.
Right, so they cut the cable so you could be on your way.
Yep.
And then Mark thought, and again, I said, you know what, that's a toss-up. Mark thought Peak Kia is responsible for that spare tire mechanism. I think the tow truck driver is who ruined it.
Wait a second. Not necessarily I thought. Here's what I thought. They needed to help him out with either the tow driver or the manufacturer Kia.
Right.
And they didn't want to do anything but say, hey, it's not our fault.
No, I think you're right. They should have helped him, but I don't think they were directly responsible. The roadside assistance Mark received was part of a Peak Kia program, but the manufacturer has that program, and they send out these tow truck drivers. And I don't think Peak Kia individually should be individually responsible for the individual who ruined the mechanism. But, as Mark said, our Mark here, they should have at least tried to help and get that tow truck operator to replace it.
And, Mark, you said they wouldn't help you. Is that correct?
So what's the latest on that? What's the latest on that?
Peak was no help until you guys reached out to the general manager there. He must have burned a call to Kia Corporate. 2 days later, I get a call from Kia Corporate saying that they had leaned on the insurance company. They were cutting me a check for the full amount. That check arrived at my house yesterday.
Hey, bro, good stuff. How much?
Oh, it's $450.
I want to add it to my total. Are you there, Mark? How much?
Yeah, sorry, I lost you guys there.
How
for a
much?
second.
How much?
$437.
Suzanne, add that to our total, $437. Hold on a second, Mark. Hold on 1 sec. All we ask, Mark, when we help people is that they put up a review for us. So Suzanne will tell you about that. That's all we ask. I mean, we don't do this. We don't charge you anything. Okay. Ann, what is your warning? Go ahead, Ann.
Hi, Tom. How are you?
Good. What's going on?
I just want to get it out there to everybody that goes up to Evergreen, up to Elk Meadow. It used to be a dog park on the other side of the highway. Now it's open space park. If your dog is off leash for a second, they will give you a ticket.
Now, there are some people that will say, so what, right? Now, are there dog parks where you are allowed to be off leash?
Oh, gosh, yes.
You're right. But
Yeah,
this
they
is
just
open
closed
space.
that one.
This changed.
Is an open space. This is not the dog park. This is the actual open space, and they have a ranger. Took a dog out of a dog backpack to put her leash on her to walk her to the car, and I got a ticket.
Wait a minute. So you were taking your dog out of your backpack, obviously a little dog, and when you placed it on the ground to put the leash on it, he gave you a ticket.
He gave me a warning because I was acting a little Tom Martino on him, and I do have an attorney up there, and made him aware of it because they're ridiculous. I mean,
yeah,
we're talking like 30 seconds. We're not talking frolicking on the ground.
But did you tell him? Did you tell him, sir? I'm just putting the leash on him right now. I took him out of my. Wow. So
would not even listen to reason. So just for anybody else that goes up there, even if you have to strangle your dog with the leash getting out of the car, make sure it's there because this Jefferson County is ticket happy on this.
Okay, I'm happy you said that. Now, where exactly is this open space?
This is Elk Meadow.
Okay.
Evergreen.
Okay, Elk Meadow and Evergreen. Now, speaking of open space and public land, we're going to talk to Juniper Unmanned drone experts. We'll talk to John Lord in studio, a drone expert, on where you can fly these when it's not your own property, how you can fly drones, if there are any organizations to belong to for recreation or for commercial. We have all kinds of issues coming up.
Just because you hear all kinds of commercials from lenders about low rates, good terms, and fast closings doesn't mean they're all the same. Anyone can make promises, but I want a sure thing. I want Ideal Home Loans for my next Ideal Home Loan. I've represented Ideal for years for a reason. They do what they say. Their 3-week closing, guaranteed in writing. Their rates, guaranteed in writing. Their terms, guaranteed in writing. And that's up front before you even do business with them. They individualize each loan and make sure you get what you need, and you're better off than you were before. That's not just a lender, that's a consumer advocate like me. And isn't that why you listen to this show? Ideal Home Loans for your next Ideal Home Loan. 303-867-7000. IdealHomeLoans.com. Also on my referral list at referralist.com. 303-867-7000.
Ideal Home Loans is regulated by the Division of Real Estate. NMLS number 136756. Call 303-867-7000. Example based on $250,000 loan around 32% DTI, 740 credit score, owner-occupied financing, 80% loan to value.
This is Denver's Talk Station. More with Martino after the news on 630 KHOW and iHeart Radio Station, KHOW, Denver.
NBC News Radio. I'm Mr. Carter. President Trump has lots of good things to say about the deal, which continues funding the government. Speaking at the White House today, Trump saying it increases defense spending by billions.
We've ended years of painful cuts to our military and just achieved a $21 billion increase in defense spending.
Says it also boosts border security and provides vital health care for minors. Trump again insisting that a massive wall is coming on the U.S.-Mexican border. The funding deal averts a government shutdown and extends spending through September. The House and Senate expected to approve the measure by the end of the week. House Speaker Paul Ryan promising that a revised GOP health care bill is on the way, but he's not offering a specific timetable. Ryan telling a Capitol briefing today that good progress is being made in getting votes needed. Says the new measure will offer more choices than Obamacare, as well as more prices. Airline customer service is taking center stage today on Capitol Hill. Pennsylvania Republican Bill Schuster told a hearing of the House Transportation Committee that a paying customer with a ticket should be treated fairly and with respect. United has been under fire after a passenger was injured while being dragged off one of its flights. CEO Oscar Munoz apologized for what he called a breach of the public trust. The University of Texas Austin identifying the student stabbed to death outside Gregory every gem yesterday.
Yesterday, one of our students was killed in a senseless act of violence on our campus. His name was Harrison Brown.
UT President Greg Fenves says he's met with Brown's family and learned how much he loved being a Longhorn. Kendricks White is under arrest in connection with the attack in which 3 others were hurt. And auto sales sagging after months of constant growth. Ford, GM,
Chance of thunderstorms this afternoon, high of 59. Tonight, makes it cloudy at a low of 36. Tomorrow, partly sunny with a high of 61. Thursday, sunny at a high of 72. Public Wi-Fi. That increases your chance.
You know what we should do? I just thought of this. I should reach out to the news director down at KRDO. Let's do a local story on them on their fucking news down there.
Okay.
I love when people keep pressing. I swear to God, I can't understand it for the life of me. Even if they had half an ass argument.
I agree.
But when he comes on and lies, says we never call, never do anything, he's just a lying freaking pig.
Oh, it's cut and dried. This is more cut and dried than anything I've ever seen on this show yet.
Oh, I don't care what all these Mercedes. Oh, I got my redneck license. I know more than anybody.
This is as cut and dried.
It's Mark's fault for the 2009. It's Mark's fault. Damn Tom Martino show. Keep fighting, buddy. He's gonna fight his way right to the poorhouse.
Bentley Baths is another cut and dried.
Yeah, but Bentley Baths weird.
It is.
It's totally weird.
She said George was out there. Met her.
George.
Before.
It's pretty hard to argue if George actually saw that tub going in or picked that tub out for her. Do you think he walks out with a measuring stick? Hold on, come over here.
When they could have just cut the tub and gave her a walk-in with the tub already in there.
I'm going to call Mike right now. I'm going to see if...
This is Bentley Baths.
Yeah.
Okay, I got 2 minutes, it looks like.
He's an advocate for the elderly. Mm-hmm. He's done very well with them.
It sounds like
I'm trying to poke on him like you.
What's your favorite airline? Southwest. Southwest. Because how they born. Any airline where you can save seats is... Hey, Mike, we've got a complete deadbeat shop down there that blew this guy's turbo up, a small business owner. I got Mercedes experts. I mean, the whole thing's crazy. Who would I talk to if we could come down there and do a TV story on KRDO? Would you see if they'll bite on that and I'll make it happen? You mean Andrew, who I know? Oh, get the hell out of here. I got his cell phone. I'll call him after the show. But they blew up this guy's Sprinter van turbo. It's Springs Truck. What is it? Springs Auto and Truck Service Center. Worst name ever. But anyhow, they blew up this guy's engine. It's horrible. It's down here getting fixed at a Mercedes dealer. But they are digging in like you won't believe. In fact, I sent you the video to share on Facebook a while back. But this will be a great one. We'll go down. We'll confront them right there. I mean, these guys shouldn't be around there digging in so hard. But I'll call Andrew after this and see if I'll get Tom's butt down there, and we'll do a story, man. It'll be great for the news. Thanks. Bye. One of the best guys I know down there is now, they bumped him out of radio. Andrew, the guy I love down there, they bumped him out of radio. Now he's on the TV side.
Who was he? What was he doing?
He was the producer of virtually everything. Hey, Freddie got that other lady. Listen to this one. Connie Brooks.
Which one?
Freddie with Colorado Claims.
No, I know him. Which one? Which lady?
She called in. Her name was Connie Brooks.
It wasn't that one.
Elodia?
3,000. Holy shit. They offered her $3,000 on her rental, final settlement, $7,100.
The Troubleshooter.
Help me if you can, I'm feeling down.
Hi, Tom Martino, your Troubleshooter, 713-TALK, 303-713-8255. Welcome. We have so much going on today. I am your troubleshooter. I want to remind you to go to Facebook and also referralist.com, but mostly Facebook with the video and the stories we've just done on Springs Auto and Truck Service Center. And then also, we want you to check out the sleazebrigade.com for new entries there. We also want you to listen every day. We're live on Facebook and on YouTube. We got a lot going on this show. There are many stories breaking that we have. And when we break a story, we make a difference. We don't just break the story, but we make a difference. With Springs Auto and Truck Service Center, we're going to take them to court and sue them. We're going to affect change when it comes to the walk-in tub and what I believe to be rip-off Bentley Baths. In my opinion, they take advantage of people. They definitely took advantage of Laurel, in my opinion. This thing sucks. It's inappropriate. It shouldn't have been sold to her. But because Medicaid got robbed of $16,000, nobody seems to care. She does. She can't take a bath. Again, Bentley Baths, who he poses himself as a consumer advocate, and in my opinion, he's a charlatan. He's just a joke.
And George met with Laurel personally a couple times.
Now, we're going to have that video up. You're not going to believe this one. I believe that industry is taking advantage of consumers, and I am going to, unless, as we said, unless there's something we are missing, which we do not think we are going to do a business, Bentley, not a Bentley, we're going to do a walk-in tub business and put these people out of business.
We'll call it better than Bentley.
We're going to, no, seriously, I'm not kidding, by the way. I already talked to suppliers through Courtney Pierce at Buy and Build. I talked to, I talked to the installer, or we have some emails from people who emailed me that want to be part of it. And I'm serious when I tell you, you can have a good, solid business, make decent money, and save consumers a ton of money. And what I love about it is when you get these greedy people you're competing with, they can't compete with you. They can't lower their prices to where we are going to start. They can't do it. And so I believe let the free enterprise system do away with these greedy you-know-whats. 303-713-TALK, 303-713-8255. Today's theme show is about drones. And we will talk about drones. We have many things, but we ask you to call if you have any questions at all about operating drones. There is so much to talk about. First of all, under Part 107, which covers commercial use of drones, you have to be 5 miles away from an airport, 400 feet limit above ground level, no night flying, and a remote pilot certificate, which is like a little license you get from a written test. Now, if you operate,
only if you're commercial.
If you're operating it recreationally, still the same, 5 miles, 400 feet, no night flying. There might be some other restrictions we'll talk about. And I'll get to Jeff Cozart with Juniper Unmanned in a minute. He mainly deals with companies that want to start a drone program. He tells them how to do it. Then we have John Lord with us. And John, what do you do when it comes to drones commercially? What is your main gig? Insurance?
Yes.
Can you turn the mic on, please? Thank you.
Yes, I work primarily on the insurance side.
Okay, so I heard there was an insurance people get when they're doing it. I had a friend who called up on the phone literally and punched in something, and he was covered for that event, and then discontinued the insurance when he was done. Is that true?
There is, yeah, there are some programs like that out there. They actually charge by the hour.
Really?
Yeah, for utilization. You bet. There's all different ways. Everybody's trying to figure out the best way to handle the
main
insurance
thing
piece.
Is liability. Because the price of the drone, even though they can get pricey, the main deal you're insuring is liability.
Correct.
I mean, if you hurt, maim, or kill, or take out a building, or, I mean, whatever.
Yeah, and most contracts now, if you're out there operating commercially, most contracts will require you to have some sort of liability policy in place. But I'll tell you, we're seeing a lot of people out there now operating in that drones with $150,000 and up in value.
What?
Yeah.
Drones?
Yes. And
wait, drones can be that much?
It's interesting because it's the sensors that go on that are 100 to 125.
Jeff, with Juniper Unmanned, what's the most expensive drone you've seen?
$8 million for an aircraft that we fly out of Guadalajara, Mexico.
And what does it do?
It will fly for about 8 hours at a time, and it does surveillance of the pipelines there was about $2 billion a year being stolen from the pipelines out of Pemex by the cartels there. And they used this system to surveil those pipelines and have just about eliminated the theft from the pipelines. Using this system. So an $8 million purchase doesn't make a whole lot of sense to most of us, but in that case, it was very, very well worth
Do we
the money.
truly have spy drones like you see? Like I used to watch 24, and I watch other movies, and they talk about drones in the sky spying.
They have bombs on them. Of course we do.
No, well, I don't know. I mean, movies and TV shows aren't always accurate. Jeff, do we truly have spying drones?
Of course we do. There's the Global Hawk that will fly at a very high altitude, and it's taking the place of what you used to think of as the spy plane. The high altitude spy planes. They're now drones that are doing that work.
How about those taxis over in Dubai now that you just hop in? They fly you from building to building, unmanned drone.
Is that real, too? Is that a real
thing?
Real?
Yeah. If they say in 2 years, believe me, they'll be flying them. They'll be testing them.
Well, they're doing them right now.
Scaled version.
I would be very, very... it would be unlikely that I would get into an unmanned drone that doesn't have auto rotation capability.
How about if a hacker got in there?
Well, I just mean you know. So Jeff, what is the wildest thing in the future of drones that you know? Hold on with that answer. I want to know what the wildest thing. I want to get a follow up with Eric. Eric, you called Friday with BNR Construction. Explain the original problem.
We had contracted with the contractor to do some floors for us and some cabinets, and had given him some money up front to get the supplies, and he never ordered any of the supplies.
What was his excuse?
First time he said he had ordered the supplies and they got stolen or repossessed out of his subcontractor's vehicle, and he had to go get new supplies. I went to the contractor, the supply house, and he hadn't ordered anything since 2015. So...
Do you think he was just going to scam you totally?
I think so. I think he just thought he would take the money and be out the door and not have to worry about it. PayPal actually forced a refund of the floor deposit of about $2,800.
Oh, so he didn't come through. You got it back from PayPal.
Correct. And then I contacted you guys, and Daphne had made a couple calls to him, and today he showed up with $1,500 that he was...
Oh, that is cool.
Good. Daphne is
Good job, Daph.
Daphne is our pit bull.
She really is.
A blonde pit bull.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much, Eric. You know, between Mark and then Daphne, those two alone.
I know, Tom,
now,
it's
Deputy
crazy.
Dan, I'm not throwing stones at you.
How about you?
No. Well, yeah, but that
you do okay.
But I'm getting behind you guys now. And Dan, Deputy Dan,
he's the stirrer.
He's the researcher. He's the one that gets all the dirt.
He's
and
the
he
stirrer.
does. I'm telling you, it's a great team. I'm not kidding, and I really appreciate it. Now, Mitch has a drone comment. Go ahead, Mitch. What's happening?
Yes, I just wanted to comment. The big ones he's talking about, the Global Hawk and the Predator, and all those are UAVs, not drones, unmanned aerial vehicles.
Okay, I mean, technically, we use the term
Isn't a drone a UAV?
Well, yeah, it is. We use the term drone, interchangeably. I understand, Mitch. We could split hairs on that. And I know the difference. What do you see as the difference? Are you talking about those unmanned aircraft do not have the ability to hover, do they?
No, they generally are powered by a gas turbine engine or a reciprocating engine and use propellers. They don't have rotors like a drone, the battery-powered drone.
And they actually have a pilot sitting somewhere in a cockpit, right?
Well, like the ones you spoke about in Las Vegas or in Iraq,
Is it true that these guys are sitting in a cockpit doing warfare?
You betcha.
Then they go home at night. They go home at night.
Absolutely.
Obama was dropping bombs out of those things left and right, man.
Unbelievable. Thank you, Mitch.
This guy says, a Facebook listener says, a man with a drone caused 1,500 elk to stampede in Wyoming this last winter.
Well, that's terrible. Can you please address drone flyover in... you just that's the one you read just now. Have you heard about that?
The one in Wyoming?
Yeah.
I have not.
So that's what I wanted to ask Jeff. Where can you not fly, Jeff? Where can you not fly?
Well, just as a matter.
And then
of
I was going to ask you about the
airspace.
outrageous. Go ahead.
Oh, sure. So the airspace of the United States is controlled by the FAA. So there's many areas within the airspace that the FAA directs that you're not allowed to fly. So
And
most of
they're
those areas
called
are sensitive.
yeah, they're called Class A, B, C, D, and they're A, B, C, D, E. There's no F, and then there's a G airspace. I don't know why there's no F airspace. I never could figure that out. But anyway, and that's
There's
what you're
also
talking.
areas that are
Yes.
There's areas that are restricted areas, that are military operations
Right.
areas.
They're called.
But we're missing. You're missing an entire piece to this. The municipality can say you can't fly it here.
No,
either.
they can't. No, they can't.
Well, you can't fly it in any Denver parks.
A municipality, okay, they can tell you not to go to the park. They can't tell. As far as, and Jeff will tell you this, airspace is controlled by the federal government. That's it, period. And a city cannot, and a state cannot pass its own laws about airspace, right, Jeff?
That's correct, and so, but there are a number of municipalities, states, and as you mentioned, the open space. I know that Jefferson County Open Space has a rule restricting flight over the open space. So there, it doesn't prevent the authorities from establishing a rule.
Right.
It's just that it's
they're not going to be able to enforce it, Mark.
They would be able to enforce it.
Plus, you have to
in
register all drones that are over a half pound with the FAA.
Really?
Yeah, I registered.
You
mine.
literally register. Do you get an
Over a half
do you get a registration number?
You get an N number. Yep.
Yeah.
Do you have to put it on your bird?
No.
Legally, you do.
Oh, really?
There's two different methods that you use to register. If you're a recreational pilot, you can register on the web, and it's only a $5 purchase to get that registration.
Well, that's all it is for airplanes too. So,
but it's through a very different mechanism.
Right.
You have to apply through the registration system.
But they can come up and ask you for your registration.
Yes.
And then Mark asked another question, what is a pilot in command? Mark, that was meant like where there's two pilots, one is a pilot in command, one is a first officer or a co-pilot. And with drones, I don't even know why they use that term, because in my opinion, if you're taking the remote and you're flying it, you're pilot in command. I mean, in my opinion, right?
Right. In a lot of operations, you have a pilot in command and you have a visual observer. So that's the differential.
All right, we got more coming up.
This report is brought to you by Cascade Windows and Doors.
Troubles on southbound 225 there near the spillway. Well, that's a trouble spot as it is anyway. There's a crash there blocking the center lane on southbound I-25. Backups to Parker already. Fire trucks are blocking the lane. No estimated time when they'll have that cleared out of the way. And a crash in the final cleanup stages on the eastbound side of I-76 at 136. The weather forecast afternoon.
Outside of insurance for these things.
Yeah.
Like we've been looking very closely now at bringing this Hydra unit out of Mexico over to Nigeria. Nigeria is dropping $8 billion into the B. They're losing that much oil off their pipeline.
Oh, because they sneak up and just take it.
So they've come to us.
What do they put it in? Just tankers?
Tankers. The Chinese will buy right on the spot.
Chinese will pull up, just pull over the border with a tanker.
And then tanker trucks. I mean, it's amazing what's going on.
But how much is spilled too, though?
The pirates don't care.
No,
and unfortunately, Exxon and
what I'm saying is
they buy insurance for what gets spilled.
Yeah,
I'm saying the pollution,
pirate insurance
that they're doing, the pollution that they're doing on top of it. Well, back in the they throw things over the power lines to steal electricity.
Yeah, that's another one. They've asked us to come in over in Nigeria as well as
like Thailand and.
Well, we've been primarily on the African continent, but to take drones down and fly power lines and utilizing a Corona camera. It's a fascinating technology.
Well, I think drones are going to be.
You know how you define a drone to somebody? You say, I want a 3/4 mile stick, and you can put any sensor on there you want. Go nuts. Does that make sense? You can take a stick that's 3/4 mile long, and you can put whatever sensor you want on there, and you can look at whatever you want or sniff chemicals, whatever. Just any sensor. You know what I'm saying? Because you're still within visual line of sight.
Right.
But that's what it's really done for us.
So, what is the biggest or the smallest drone that can be detected, or the biggest drone that can be detected on radar?
I couldn't answer that for sure. I don't know what the cross, it's all that has to do with cross.
So I'm wondering, the government's got to be trying to define that just for terrorist drones and all that, to be able to actually see them.
Yeah. And that comes down to, too, are you using electronics interference, right, which is a lot of your stealth technology, or stealth.
Right. So imagine, you're right, there's probably drones out there that can fly over and just put out secretive
That's a huge part of what we're doing right now. So what are they doing to counter that? If you study, the interesting one to study was the big conference in Geneva, because they had anti-drone technology all set up there, and I can't remember the name of the company, but pretty interesting. So now they can basically say, all right, 5 mile square area here, no drone can operate with them. So that's how they're protecting themselves. And I think if you were to really know about how, probably has that technology.
Is the bandwidth, do all drones got to operate within a certain bandwidth there?
Most of what you're seeing out there, it's all basically like phone, like home phone, 900 megahertz, 800. But no, you can get outside of that, right? You can do satellite.
You can do what?
Satellite.
Well, that's what I say. I'm sure the government is doing that, so it can't be a lot less harder to.
Yeah.
No, it's
fascinating stuff.
Everything is fascinating that's coming out. It really is. Technology is just going balls to the wall.
See our ad in the Westward and check out QualityAutoSound.com for special web-only coupons and the location nearest you.
She says Class Centennial is not Class C. It is Delta. Whatever that means. Well, I tell you what, man, you start talking about drones, the other thing is everybody nitpicks the shit out of it. I had one guy say, it's a guy like you that flies it over the trees and you can't see it that hurts the rest of us.
Well, good point. Was he from Springs Auto?
Yeah, Springs Auto.
Hello, Tom Martino, droning on and on and on. Welcome, 303-713-TALK. Okay, let's keep going. We have Juniper Unmanned with us, Jeff Cozart, and then we have also, and he's an expert, helps companies set up programs and stay in compliance. Then we have John Lord. John, what company are you with? Turn your mic on.
AirSure Limited.
And that is mainly insurance, right?
Yes,
okay.
yes, 100%.
Now, chime in any time. You don't have to wait to be asked. I noticed you perched a few times when Jeff was talking. Jeff, I wanted to ask, and I will get to all of your calls. Jeff, I wanted to ask the most outrageous purpose or weird thing you see for drones in the future.
Boy, you know, it's the weird is becoming normal. And that's really sort of the land that we live in, right?
Yeah.
And so, as you asked that question, I thought, boy, there's a lot of things that we're doing currently that might seem weird to
like
folks.
what? Like what are some of the weirder uses or some of the future uses you see? I mean, we've all heard about the deliveries, but are they actually being used for deliveries yet?
Well, only really sort of experimentally in remote areas.
Right.
That's still, you know, from a regulatory standpoint, from a technology standpoint, that's a ways off. For example, we're flying projects for the Colorado Department of Transportation. We're identifying locations in the canyons in Colorado where we are likely to experience rockfall.
Okay,
right?
cool.
So we can prevent rocks from falling onto the highway and creating damage to the road or hazards to people that are driving along those roads.
What about looking for lost people? What about looking for lost hikers and all that we used to be able, we had to have expensive helicopters?
That is very doable today.
Okay, hold on one sec. I just don't want to lose you. I'm going to keep you up. I'm just locking you in there. Chris, you used to build drones. You have a comment. Go ahead, Chris.
Hello?
Yes, sir, Chris. Go ahead, sir.
Hi. No, I used to build the walking tubs.
Oh, I'm sorry.
For a company in Aurora.
Okay.
I just had a little info on the drones.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, well, the biggest thing with the walk-in tubs is pretty much the way they're built, because with our competition at the company, I'm not sure if I want to represent them or not.
No, you don't have to. Go ahead.
I don't really care for them, but oh, okay. So I used to build them, and
when you say build them, do you mean the tub itself or install them?
No, I used to build them, the tub themselves.
Where was it manufactured?
Well, part of it was we would build it in Canada, the tub, and then they would slap American flags on it and send it out to people in Aurora.
Okay.
Acting like it was American-made.
Okay.
But everything in-house was made. We would do all the jets. From Waterway was the company. We would do all the plumbing. So.
And what is your comment on the walk-in tub industry?
Oh, okay. Well, what I wanted to say is that our competitors, they don't care about the internal draining of the tubs. So if the water isn't draining internally, you're building up fungus and mildew.
You mean in the jets?
Yes.
Hey, do you know on the sales side part?
Hold on.
Like who's got to authorize it?
No. Hold on one sec. Keep going on that note. You're saying evacuation of the water is very important.
Oh, yeah, because you don't want stagnant water in there.
Right.
And that's what Home Depot is offering.
By the way, that is a problem. That is a problem with all jetted tubs. It's always been a problem. Now they've done a lot of technology where they turn on automatically and they blow air through and on a timer. And some really great tubs I reviewed on Channel 4, I believe it was, years ago. The jetless tubs, have you heard of those, where they literally don't have any hose at all? They literally take the water in and blow it right back out in that same spot.
Wow, that sounds like it'd be pretty isolated, though.
Think about this. No, think about this. You have a ring, okay, and that ring sucks in jets. It sucks in water, and then blows it right back out again. It's like a little. A little turbine. It's a little turbine, and they're electrically operated. And I'm telling you, Chris, this tub, I don't know the name of it, but there were no hoses ever to have water in them. It was wonderful. It stirred up the water pretty well.
The biggest thing, too, about the ones we made, what I was trying to say about versus the competition, is you would take, say, one you got at Home Depot apart, it would be holding 2 cups of water in it if you were to drain every little drop of water that it's been holding in it. See, with the tubs that I used to build, we were 100% focused on draining.
No, I understand. That's important.
That was at any angle.
That's important. That's important. What do you do now?
I just drive for Lyft and Uber at the moment.
Okay, well, I appreciate you calling in, Chris. So, Jeff, hang on there. I thought that was a drone comment, but I want to ask you, as far as drones, though, recreational drones, there really are no, other than the normal restrictions and the airspace, there's really nothing people have to look out for, right? Jeff?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I heard you say, can you hear me? We're having a problem with the connection, I guess. Go ahead. Listen, Suzanne, just make sure he's on. I'm going to go to a call. Alberto, what's going on with you, Alberto?
Hi, Tom. How you doing?
Good. What's happening?
I love your show, by the way.
Thank you.
You helped me quite a bit. I have this guy or this company, I'm not sure, it sounds like hackers. A couple times a day, they call and they try to get information on my personal computer. And
yeah, they're all over. They're all over.
Yeah, they just called me about an hour ago, and I did call them back. They are answering their phones. And I said, please take me off your call list. Do not call this number no more. I was wondering if you would take that courtesy call for me if you can.
Yeah, we will. Where are they from?
They sound Indian.
Okay, leave the number with Suzanne. Okay, hold on a second. And in fact, why don't we give out the number and we can have a bunch of people do it. Give out the number right now, as a matter of fact. What is it?
It's 855. 222.
Yeah.
2316.
Okay, let me give that number out, and people give a courtesy call and tell them to leave us alone. These are those hackers that say they want remote access to your computer. It's 855-222-2316. Yep, that's scum. I'm telling you that right now. Just scum. All right, by the way, we have so much to talk about. And this thing I was telling you about, this little device, this iPod that I had on at the beginning of the show, 6 hours a day I'm listening to this from Colorado Tinnitus, because somebody saw me with it in my ear and they asked what it was. And did I talk on the air or off the air about it before? It was before we went on the air, right?
Yeah.
It was underneath my headset. Anyway, for those watching online, all it is an iPod and an earpiece, okay, like a hearing aid, and it puts sounds into my head, and what it is doing is desynchronizing the tinnitus. Tinnitus is when you're missing you have certain nerve damage, and all the sounds are aligned, and it produces a tone, okay? That's tinnitus. And what this does is it shoots out different sounds in different intervals to confuse the brain and desynchronize those sounds. So eventually, after 6 weeks of therapy, people are reporting tinnitus goes away and it doesn't come back. They're calling it a permanent solution. And I wanted to just let people know about it because, I mean, it could be a life changer. And I've talked to people. I mean, there are people who their tinnitus has gone away completely. I'm only in my, 4th day of doing this. So I'm really happy to try it. And I suggest if you have any hearing loss or tinnitus problem, you call them, okay? And it's really easy. They do free test drives of hearing devices. 303-534-0163, 534-0163. That's Colorado Tinnitus and Hearing Center.
I said it before and I'll say it again. If you want excellent Excel roofing, they don't hand you a blank contract and expect you to sign the entire
I can't remember.
They want you to know exactly
Last week somebody was on, it might have been L&L, again, a new referral list number, but basically offering like a $99 to come out, diagnose the problem, but I don't think it was L&L, and the guy
What was the problem?
The guy says there was somebody on last week giving a special of coming out to the house and diagnosing for $99 for electric.
No, it wasn't electric. Electric was $149, but there was something for $99. It was a car thing, and it was a car thing, anything but electrical. It's $99 to find and fix.
Oh, so this was Friday when I wasn't here.
No, it was 89 plus parts.
I'm sorry.
89 plus parts.
For budget A1.
Yeah.
For what?
Cars.
89 plus parts to fix anything.
To fix anything on a car.
We got to.
Yeah, or it's free. So in other words, if it turns out they need an engine, of course they can't fix it for $89, so they won't charge them anything.
Mark, can we meet with him? Can you set up a meeting?
I think we're meeting.
You guys are going tomorrow, 1:45. I put it on your calendar.
Tomorrow's Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that okay?
There's nothing on my calendar.
There was nothing on your calendar.
Yeah.
So I
Why am I thinking there is? I don't know. I mean, that's good. Okay,
Doctors, did you not put a doctor's note?
No. Okay.
That means you can buy a
Should I keep on going through this Bentley Baths, put on there every now and then? Or
Say it again.
should I put, put this up every now and then? Should I put Laurel's Tubs and Bentley Baths?
Only when he brings it up.
Okay.
Yeah, because if they just tune in, they have no idea.
Your lifestyle. We offer you a paperless loan process, a fast close, and up-to-date communication throughout the process.
720-895-0500. Take AIM as your local and trusted broker since 2001.
720-895-0500.
NMLS 298191. Regulated by DORA, equal credit lender.
Are you embarrassed by your smile? Are you unable to eat the foods you love, afraid to laugh, afraid to live a normal life, even afraid to go out in public? Dr. Barrett's with Barrett's Dental. I believe that you deserve a smile that you can be proud of so you can live your life the way you want, with the peace of mind that you can smile without embarrassment and that your mouth is healthy. At Barrett's Dental, we want to help you get your
So going as far as in the Bronco Stadium or stadium, could you, what defines airspace within the?
You can't fly over that because it's populated area, heavily populated.
It's a public assembly.
Okay, so that's what it is.
Public assemblies you can't go over.
Gotcha.
And you can't go over, well, public assemblies. And then you have to stay, if it's like a regular aircraft, you have to be 2,000 feet horizontal from structures.
Even if you look at the banner tower guys, they stay away. They don't fly directly over. They stay away from
2,000 feet.
Not in Mexico.
Not in Mexico. Yeah. Whole different airspace.
So you
They'll fly right over your ass.
So you could be watching bullfights in Mexico with a drone.
And the banner can hit you.
But yeah, so that's what theoretically can come out of there.
So could the team do that? Or the owner, if he, of the Broncos, could they fly one in there and get really good shots, or no? It just can't.
Yeah, you know, if you look, they're doing it, right? They're doing some swarm technology. So you're starting to see some of that occurring where you've got.
Where are those tubs without the jets? They're wonderful. They call them
for the lights.
So it is occurring, and even inside hockey rinks. Because I've been dealing with the New York Rangers.
No, really? Indoor?
What? And the technology gets much better because you start utilizing, instead of GPS and all that, you're using internal sensors where you've got an exact location. So now you're getting within centimeter accuracy for everything. That makes sense. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It is.
That air spawn technology was so incredible.
But that, I can see that with a couple waters left in, especially if you don't leave it for a couple
it's
weeks.
terrible.
Yeah.
Now,
absolutely.
You run a tub that hasn't been
on our bathtub, when we use our bathtub, our jetted tub, and then we drain it, about 10 minutes later it goes on, and you hear it going.
So it's sucking it out?
I don't know. It's blowing air through the whole system, and it does it 3 times every so many minutes, automatically. And you scared the hell out of me one time.
It suck you right into it if you've got 3/4 of one of those jets.
Hi, Tom Martino.
You're a troubleshooter. I got to get to the calls. People have been waiting a while, okay? Thank you very much, because I do want to take them. Kyle, and then we'll go back to drones. Kyle, first I want to mention this, by the way. Rocky's Autos does have their spring selection coming in, and they'll be fully stocked by this weekend. And they have gotten so many cars in the lower price range. Plus, of course, they have any price range. The whole deal is, the important part is, they have the best deals, and they want you to compare. That's what you have to do, okay? Now, they may not have the best deal on a car you look at that they don't have. I mean, you have to compare what they have to what's out there. And if you find something on their lot, you're not going to find a better deal. And they do the best reconditioning. So go to Rocky's 63rd and Federal, Monday through Saturday, 9 to 8. And they have the new stock of cars coming in. They buy them cash so they can offer them to you without any problems with banks or floor plans. That's something that other dealerships are plagued with. They have to literally pay back the bank interest plus the price of the car. Rocky's doesn't have any of that overhead. They also, of course, have 40 lenders you can choose from. Rocky's Autos, 63rd and Federal, 303-426-4646. Let's go back to the phones again and talk about Kyle's salary, because he was waiting for a while. Kyle, what's going on?
Hey, Tom, thanks for taking the line.
Yes, sir. What's happening?
So what happened is I worked for a tire company for about 1.5 years. I managed a store for about a year. Salaried employee, $455 a week. Doesn't matter how many hours you work. The absolute lowest federal limit that a company's allowed to pay is what I was paid. And then we were paid.
What kind of job did you do?
I managed a tire store.
Okay. You didn't get paid like bonuses for anything?
So we did. We did get paid bonuses. It was the following month for the previous month, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So what's going on? What's the problem?
Last 2 months I worked for the company, there were no bonuses paid out because they claimed not enough money was made. And I tried doing some research on my own as far as salaried employees not making at least minimum wage, with including bonuses.
Well, they have to make minimum wage.
Exactly.
You're not allowed to work and not make minimum wage.
So the question is, I worked 2 months, made $455 a week, and on an average of 65 hours a week, it's about $1,000 less than what minimum wage would have been without bonuses.
No, so hold on now. With the bonuses, though, you made minimum wage. That's what counts. So you have to take all of the money you were paid, and then that has to come up to minimum wage.
Yep. So the last 2 months.
So you're telling me the last 2 months, if you take every penny that you made, it does not rise to the level of minimum wage?
That is correct.
Well, Kyle, that really, I don't know though if you are counting extra hours. That's on a 40-hour work week. That's not on what you work. Do you understand that? Because if you're saying, well, I work 60 or 70 hours, and that's how you're dividing, that doesn't work that way. With a salaried employee, the salary for a 40-hour week has to rise to minimum wage.
Okay.
So is that how you're doing the math, or are you doing the math based on what you worked?
I was doing the math based on the actual hours worked.
Now, I might be wrong, Mark. You ran a store. I don't know. I might be wrong.
I think some of the rule changes that have been recent have changed that, but I don't know if they've gone into effect.
Can we check with, let's check with Sean Olson, the Olson Law Firm.
Olson will know.
You hold on, because I don't want to give you half-baked information.
I don't think you could work, for example, a McDonald's or any place, manager for 60 hours.
No, you're right, Mark. They can't make you work for less than minimum wage, because otherwise then they would always do that.
Everybody would be salaried.
Right. They would give you a salary based on 40 hours and make you work 80. So I'm probably wrong on that. Hold on a sec, and let's get that. Steve's got a drone issue or question. Go ahead, Steve. What's happening?
Hey, Tom. Thanks for taking my call.
Let's bring up my expert, Jeff Cozart, with Juniper Unmanned, and we have John Lord with us. Go ahead.
Okay. I live close to Cherry Creek Reservoir, where they have the airplane park.
Yeah.
And over the weekend, we had a drone flying over our house. What's the legality of that, and who do you even call?
Now, what do you mean a drone flying over your house? You live near the airport there, right?
Correct. I live between the airport and Cherry Creek Reservoir.
He's saying he's within 5 miles, I assume.
Oh, I see. You're saying you're in their airspace. You're right.
Well, I guess that, but Cherry Creek Reservoir, just north of Bellevue there, has that little airplane park. So there's a place you can park. They have a little runway. People go out there and fly their,
They do.
I guess, drones and that kind of thing.
But here's the deal, though. Is it true that you can't fly a drone within 5 miles of an airport, Jeff? Of course.
But it requires a waiver with the FAA.
How do they do the little RC park? He's right. There's an RC park, radio-controlled park there. How do they get away with it?
Right, because they establish a rule in cooperation with the air traffic control of that particular airport. So they've got a special permission with that air traffic control, and my assumption is that they coordinate their operations very closely.
Well, I'm not sure of that, but it might be. But I think RCs are not under the same restrictions as drones. That's the sad part about it, right? I mean, they're just not.
And that's the RC world is really trying to not be associated with drones at all. They've been left alone for all these years, and
they don't want to be controlled. But here's a good question.
RC stuff that have real jet engines and fly at 200-300 miles an hour.
But here's the real deal. If Steve lives in Centennial airspace and he's seeing drones flying, how is that happening? That's illegal, right?
Well, perhaps it's illegal, or perhaps they have a waiver with the FAA. More than likely, it is being conducted illegally.
Steve,
so if I see him, you can't even identify him. Who do you even call?
Well, that's the point. That's the whole point. What do you do about it?
You got a slingshot.
Now, when they are flying over your house, are they flying close to you?
You know, I didn't see it, Tom. My wife saw it, and she said, "Steve, come here. There's a drone hanging over our house." And so by the time I got out there, it was headed back to where the park was.
Okay.
So I didn't see it, but she said it was larger than those little toy drones. So I don't know if it came from the airport. I mean, we're having a lot of...
Well, here's the problem. Enforcement, right, Steve? Who do you call? That's the problem. You know, how do you can't. You don't know what to report. If you report a gray or a black drone somewhere, nobody's going to do anything about it. Now, if you can attempt to see who's doing it, you might want to report it. But I have another question. With all of the popularity of drones, I can't believe that we have not seen activities like racing. Do we have racing?
Racing is going on. It's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
So
there's actually TV shows right now.
Like a racing circuit.
Yeah,
There's
absolutely.
So there are people, Jeff, who race them.
Yes, there's a whole league, professional league set up, the Drone Racing League.
Wow.
I think they raised 30 million, 50 million.
Do they go around? Do they go around pylons, or how do they do it?
Through hoops, through all sorts of things.
Established.
Okay.
They're tricky, man, because the way they brake and the way they turn, I try to race mine just around my backyard, man. It's tough.
Oh, yeah.
Now, what about drone wars? And I'm not kidding. What if somebody had a park or like 40 acres?
Dogfights.
Yeah, or you guys, you sponsors drone wars where they go out and you pay money and you win prizes.
Realistically, keep in mind that you can do things inside a building without FAA approval.
Right.
So theoretically, that'd be probably the best way to start something like that, right? So you don't even have to worry about any regulatory approval and then go from there. But right now, I don't know of any drone wars. Do you,
Jeff? Do you know any drone wars?
No, I've heard people talk about it, but currently one of the regulations is that you're not allowed to have any kind of a weapon or anything that fires any object from a drone.
But you can drop stuff from a drone.
You could drop. In fact, that's the whole point of delivery, right?
Man, I got to tell you, I can think of 100 ways to use dropping. Like, how about forest fire someday if you get big enough drones, or what about feeding cattle? I mean, it's unbelievable what you can do. I mean, that's what I mean. If you can imagine it, it's probably going to happen.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Okay. Okay, we got a lot happening here. And speaking of technology, this concrete lift technology is blowing my mind. Okay, concrete lift and stabilization. What I love about this company, and this is the most important part, they do both the polymer fill and the mud fill, and the mud is basically a concrete slurry. So if you have a void underneath concrete causing it to crack or slump or sink or under a sidewalk or any kind of a slab, he can go in and pump it up and make it level, and then you can repair the cracks. It's way cheaper than tearing it all out. And this guy's been doing it for years and years, Devin Johns. He's a great guy, and as I said, he does both. Now, there is a time when you want to use the polymer, and there's a time when you only need to use the mud, and he can do both. No other company offers that. Also, he will come out and assess it free of charge and tell you exactly what you need. Here's how you get in touch with him for concrete lifting and stabilization, okay? You call on your smartphone, pound 250. That's a phone call. Pound 250 and then send. When they answer, the robot, you say concrete lift as your keyword.
You got to check your patio and stuff now, too, because if that's snow or the wet ground, that water's got to run away. I had that problem in our old house. They had to come out and pump it up, or else the water goes right in your house.
That's another thing that Mark's talking about. It's not just cracking that's a problem, but he can come in and put a tilt to your slab so it drains properly. So there are all kinds of ways you can use concrete lift and stabilization. Remember the pound sign, and then put 250 in, send, and then say the keyword concrete lift. After that, you will be texted all of the contact information.
This report is brought to you by LifeLock.
One big crash on the freeway system, southbound I-225 near the Dayton Bridge there. The center lane remains blocked. The fire truck is gone, but courtesy patrol and police remain on the...
Can I hit the head? Yeah, I'm going to do it right now. You got me. I'm going with you.
Okay.
Lucky you.
No. Is this something you report back when you get on there? Holy, I just went there. Oh.
I got a drawer on there.
Mark, ask her if she can get Don on from Paradigm and come up with some kind of screaming deal. Is this? Oh no. He can.
Hey, never mind. 630K how? Do you use public Wi-Fi? That increases your chance of identity theft. One reason you need LifeLock. Free credit monitoring may show changes to your credit. LifeLock's US-based team helps resolve...
Your battery is lithium-ion, right?
What's that?
Your battery for your drones, lithium ion, right?
Yeah.
You see these graphene batteries that, Tom, that's the new battery that's good for carbon batteries.
How much are they?
They're not out yet for,
Is it gonna be for cars?
I think it's gonna be for everything.
Everything. It's better than lithium.
Well, it sounds like it. That's what, remember Tom said that about new technology here, graphene?
Well, if it's someone else's fault, they should pay. That's the way the system works. Now, you may think, I don't want to sue, I don't want to go through all of that. You know, John Fuller is someone you should talk to. It's free of charge, it's complimentary. If he takes the case, it's only payable if he wins, and it's a small percentage of what he collects. If someone is irresponsible, if someone is negligent, they should pay. That's what it's all about. Why should you be the one to suffer? Don't feel guilty. What you need, the services of someone competent like John Fuller, who knows all the areas of law involved. 303-597-4500, 597-4500 on my referral list at referralist.com. Why do I prefer Ideal Home Loans? Let me tell you the ways. One, their interest rate guarantee. If rates go down over the next 2 years, they refinance.
Oh, we can go down there this week.
Pick your term, get your low rates, but you don't have to start
I might, I gotta ask Tommy left there, but, I might have something set up here real quick.
Can you hold on for a minute? I've got John Taylor on the paradigm. We have a question for you.
Listen to Prince 3-week closes, and everything is guaranteed in writing. I could go on and on and on, but I have a show to do. Ideal Home Loans for your next Ideal Home Loan. 303-867-7000. IdealHomeLoans.com.
Ideal Home Loans is regulated by the Division of Real Estate, NMLS number 136756. Call 303-867-7000. Example based on $250,000 loan amount, 32% DTI, 740 credit score, owner-occupied financing, 80% loan to value.
Ideal Home Loans also on my referral list at referralist.com. 303-867-7000.
This Saturday, they're almost
always fatalities. It's not, I don't think they're unsafe. I don't know what it is, but
well, they used to be, but now they've gotten a lot better, and they're priced in the price range where they're used so much for instruction rental. That's where they work. That's where it's happening.
it's because lower time pilots own them. And they're cheap to get into. I love, goddamn, that instrument is a brick. Yeah. Is a truck.
You bought that from Jack Ferguson, right? No. Okay.
No, he facilitated the deal.
Okay.
And I used his dealer license. Yes, he helped me. Yes, he helped me. Yep. Because
good friend of mine. We do.
I had a Robinson, and he helped me.
is the easy-to-use
He took that in.
music and radio.
We just used him as a dealer, so I didn't have to do the sales tax. I did the trade. And then I found the helicopter row and did the work. Perfect. And then he just charged me a service fee, whatever he did. He helped me out.
The left has truly gone noodle.
But is he still messing around at all?
I talked to him on a few days ago.
Because
he's still doing some transactions.
He's in and out, and he's yeah. But he's doing okay. He's good.
Hi, Tom Martino here. Welcome. 303-713-TALK, 713-8255. Do we have our guy on, our employment attorney?
He's coming up here real quick, Tom.
We'll get him up? Okay, maybe next hour, Sean. If you can hold on, Kyle, we'll try to get you some answers. Mary, what is your issue, Mary?
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
I just wanted to kind of give a shout-out for everyone in the Denver area and probably elsewhere. In the last month or so, 3 different locations within Denver and the mountains here have actually added an extra monetary amount to the tip that I've specified. And I thought at first...
Now, wait a minute. So you put down a tip and money was added to it?
Yeah, so basically, the problem will be solved if I paid with cash. But given I'm paying with a credit card, I specify a specific amount in the tip. And then when I go to balance my statement at the end of the month, I've noticed 3 different times that an extra few dollars has been added to the tip.
They'd have to scribble it in over what you wrote.
No, they wouldn't. They just got to add more in.
Oh, they add it.
Because you fill in the tip, they bring it back, they put in the tip, and let's say instead of $5, they put 10.
Okay, we ought to check that. That is something. I never checked mine. And you've actually noticed. Did you notice it with any particular establishment?
Yeah, there's 3 that are in Denver, and
What are
Denver
they?
And 1 in Vail. So the 2 in Denver was Finn's Manor, which is in the Rhino area, And then I first noticed it at Thirsty Lion, which is there's two, but I think this is the one.
How much did they add?
Each, it kind of varies. It's been anywhere from $1 to like $2, $3.
It hasn't happened to me. Has that happened to you?
Well, I wouldn't know.
That's true. I don't
because
know for sure.
I didn't balance every penny like she does.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're cheap and run your own, and I'm starting out my own business, so I've had to keep track of all my expenses. And at first I thought it was, a mistake, and then it keeps happening.
I would say it's somewhat widespread. I'd like for a waitress or waiter out there or a server to call in and be, you don't have to say who you are. Does it happen?
Wow. Yeah. That's something. I'm glad you called in. You know what? I'd like to know. So you'd have to keep your receipt and literally compare that receipt to the statement.
Well, what I do,
the total.
I always round up. So I will never have like 25.63. It would always be 25. So if mine has any cents or anything on it, when I see it, that would set it off. Or if you only went up to say 50.
Yeah, but if you round it up to 25, let's say, if somebody adds $2, it's still 28. So
that's right.
Well, that wouldn't do it then.
No, but if something comes up that's not exactly like that from a restaurant, I would know.
Yeah, but you wouldn't know. It makes it easier for them, in my opinion.
Then maybe you only round up to a quarter. So in other words, everything ends in 25 cents.
Yeah, that's what you should do, because although then when they add, because people are most likely going to add dollars. So even if you did 25.25 and they add $5, it's 30.25. So I'm not sure how you would do it, because no matter what, they're going to add dollars to it. I don't know. I mean, I think the only way to do it is to compare your receipt with literally the totals.
Well, what's so diabolical of this is if it's only $1, who's going to call in for $1?
And if they do it to every customer they have, they could have an extra $20 that day.
Oh my God! Yeah, easily.
I am going to start checking. That scares me a little. Mike, what's going on with you, Mike?
Hey, Tom, I was wondering if you could tell me what DOW would do if you took a drone up to scout elk before you went elk hunting.
Hey, Jeff, what do you think? Is that legal to scout animals?
No, it is not. The Division of Wildlife prohibits that. And authority, we talked earlier about the FAA having the authority to manage the drone activity in the airspace. But if you think about that, there's a number of activities, say using a drone nefariously or being reckless with it.
You can't fly them without being illegal.
Right. You're right. So the Division of Wildlife.
So the Division of Wildlife has outlawed it. Hold on, and we'll talk about that. Wow. The more we talk about it, the more sinister it becomes. We have a lot more to talk about on the Troubleshooter Show. Stick around. Yes, Roy, we will take your call about your Jeep. Kyle will find out the answer about overtime and minimum wage. And then we'll talk more about drones on the Troubleshooter Show.
I think it's 48 hours.
What's that?
You can't fly
I
any
didn't get that
aircraft in an
number.
area.
Do you want me to call right now or call after the show?
48-hour time zone.
Who the hell would know? Here, no, go call right now.
Okay, I didn't get the number.
Oh, here.
I've got a great...
1-800-452-NAPA. They take complaints very serious.
Okay.
Point them to the video, point them to everything. Let them know what these clowns in the Springs are doing. We'll just keep notching it up. Hey, look at your IM real quick, please. I don't want to... Okay.
Come and visit you. 303-630-9204. You'll love the way the owner...
This was...
Drones and perverts?
No. No, I saw that too. That's funny. No, I'm doing this under you. It's coming right now. This was a response from KRDO TV. I didn't know about that. I replied, I think it's more of a solo or us.
No. I can see me being the expert, and she can do it.
Well, you want to? I kind of want. Plus, listen, it's so good for us down there. You want to get it set?
Yeah, when do we want to do it?
You tell me, I'll get it done right now. I mean, we got to move on it.
Well, yeah, but it's an evergreen, so to speak.
What do you mean an evergreen?
Well, what I mean is, it's not like the story's going away tomorrow.
No.
So we got to figure this out, though. The way they have to do it, they're going to want to talk to our victim. So we got to meet our victim.
Yep.
And do that.
I can have him meet us right there.
At the place.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it depends on how she wants to do it, Stephanie.
You want me to ask how she wants to do it?
How does Stephanie want to do it? Who does she want to talk to? Yeah, just ask the details, and then we can set it up for her. Does she want to meet someone?
This will be great for her, too, quite frankly.
Yeah, I don't mind doing that.
I think it would be great.
They have their own recorder, sure.
So it's 48 hours. You can't fly an aircraft or a drone, anything considered to be an aircraft in an area and then go and hunt it within 48 hours. Okay.
And how would anybody know that?
I've got a case in point. I've got one that got caught for it down in Montrose, a helicopter pilot. I guess you're not going into detail with him, but he specifically got caught doing it.
Drone flyover, a trespass under Colorado law. Unauthorized drone flyovers are likely a trespass, is what this says. So if I fly over your house, I'm trespassing. If I fly over your yard, I'm telling you, you can't fly drones.
Well, there's a regulation that theoretically you as a landowner own airspace up to, that's kind of the unknown. What is it, 100 feet?
I don't know.
300 feet?
What's that?
The airspace you own above your house. So if you're on,
well, you don't really own it. Well, I guess.
Well, no.
Maybe. I understand.
And the precedence was set with the police forces. When they're out looking for bad guys with helicopters, they always have to be above 400 feet is how it works. I think that was the number. Anything below that, and you're trespassing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Don't quote me on the 400 feet, but so there's some, but that becomes the big gray area.
Not in traffic. Experience travel the way it should be.
This could be really good for the beginning of something to grow down there.
See where the train comes in. Restrictions apply.
There's a lot of rip-offs down there. I mean, per capita, I'd say there's more down there than here. What do you think? Per capita.
Hi, Tom Martino, your troubleshooter.
Welcome to the show. 303-713-TALK, 713-8255. I want to tell you can catch us live on Facebook. You can catch us live on YouTube. And, of course, on iHeartRadio. That is a great app, by the way. You can listen to our past shows that are archived. You can listen to our current show live. And you can even listen to it in your car. What you do is you take your phone and Bluetooth it to your audio system in the car. And that's how you can listen to iHeart, just like your car radio. It's wonderful. And most cars, of course, have the Bluetooth capability to get the audio from your phone. So it's fun. And, of course, iHeart has more than just talk radio on it. It has virtually any kind of genre you want. You can build your own radio station with it. You can build a station of favorites that you go to all the time without having to search all the time. And you can create a login if you want, or you can just do it as a guest. Now, we have some employment law questions here, and we brought up one of our members of the referral list to answer it. I also want to mention we're doing a drone show about drones, and we've been having a lot of interesting discussions on that, and we'll continue that in a minute. Right now, Sean Olson, attorney at law with the Olson Law Firm. We had a question. Kyle was salaried, and as such, he got $455 as a salary. And he said he also got bonuses based on sales, but bonuses were not guaranteed. Now, Kyle, how many hours did they expect you to work for that $455?
You were scheduled 6 days a week, open to close, Monday through Friday. Normal business hours, 8 to 6. Rarely took a lunch.
Now, if you take 40 hours, that $455 comes to $11.37 an hour. But I want to know this from Sean Olson. Sean, what are the rules about salaried employees, and don't they call them exempt employees?
Well, sometimes. A salaried employee is not necessarily the same thing as an exempt employee.
What is an exempt employee?
An exempt employee is someone for whom the Colorado Wage Act and the Federal Labor Standards Act does not apply.
What?
In other words,
who could be exempt?
Maybe a part-time worker?
Certain part-time workers are probably in a different. No, part-time workers by themselves are not going to be exempt.
Give me an idea of someone exempt.
Lawyers, doctors, outside sales employees, executives, things like that.
Okay, now, what about then salaried employees? What about them? What's the rule there? As far, can I pay them $200 a week and tell them to work 80 hours?
It depends on what their job is, and not just necessarily what their title is, but what their actual duties are on a regular basis.
What do you mean?
Depending on what kind of tasks they're doing. For example, a salesperson who works at the place of business is not going to necessarily be considered an exempt employee. That person is going to be required to be paid a minimum wage and paid overtime for any hours over 40 and that kind of thing. But if that same person is an outside salesperson, in other words, they work from home or they work from hotel rooms, wherever they might be, then they might become an exempt employee.
Okay, but let's talk about him particularly. He worked at a tire store. He managed the tire store, okay?
Okay.
Now, he got a salary of $455 a week. Can they ask him to work as much as they want?
Well, they can, and he certainly has a right to work that many hours or not, depending on what his duties are.
So literally, though, he's a manager, okay? That's what his duties are. He's a manager. And I can, for $450, make him work 100 hours?
Well, it depends.
On
it
what?
Depends on what sort of duties he's going to have as a manager. Does he have hiring and firing authority? Does he have executive authority over how the business is run? Things of that nature. Or is he simply a guy sort of in the mid-level of the chain who's told what to do and simply gets to pass commands down the chain to his employees?
Okay.
So you were essentially a franchisee. You had complete control over everything. If something broke, you had to fix it or get it fixed. Painting, cleaning, opening, closing, hiring, firing, everything except back-end paperwork that's done at corporate level.
So in that case, Sean, what I hear you saying is the more duties you have, the less rights you have.
Correct. Yeah, and it sounds like in this circumstance, he might be rising to the level of being an executive or supervisor.
Which means minimum wage does not apply.
Minimum wage doesn't apply, and the overtime requirements of the FLSA do not apply.
My question is, can McDonald's have an assistant manager, or Walmart or King Soopers an assistant manager making $250 a week and working 60 hours?
Right. Somebody who doesn't have that power, but they are a manager.
Probably not. In a case like that, a manager who's working at a McDonald's isn't going to have necessarily the authority to hire and fire and to have say-so over the daily operation.
Let's say they're a shift manager and they make $300 a week. Can you demand a minimum wage at least?
Absolutely.
So if they make you work beyond what minimum wage could be, you could probably fight it.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. If they're trying to pay someone like that less than minimum wage, then that can be fought.
And is minimum wage based on the amount worked or on a 40-hour week? It's based on how much he actually works, right?
How much you work, and you put that into a 40-hour week to see if, that's how you determine what the minimum wage is.
If you worked in 1 week, if you worked 80 hours, you would divide what you got by 80 to see what your hourly rate was.
Correct.
Okay, so Kyle, in your case, it sounds like they can get away with it.
Really?
Yeah, it does, because you had power. And as I hear Sean saying, the more power you have, the more power you have, the less rights you have, because they consider you an integral part of the business.
That's fascinating.
So you worked a lot of hours, lot of hours for $455. So what did your hourly wage turn out to be when you averaged it for 2 months?
Oh, it's below $7 an hour.
Below $7, yeah.
Yeah.
But because of your duties, they're allowed to do that. So any other questions?
What if there was no contract? I mean, I never signed any contract, anything.
In other words, you want to say, wait a minute, I did not sign on for this. I don't think you can. It's because here's what I think you're going to find. It's going to be substance over form. Whether you signed a contract or not to do that, you were doing that. Sean, what do you think?
Yeah, whether there's a contract or not isn't necessarily going to make a difference. Certainly, if there's a contract that says you're going to be paid more than that, you can hold them to that. But that's not necessarily going to change your position as an exempt employee or a non-exempt employee.
Okay. All right. I apologize. One more thing.
Go ahead.
I had a week of vacation time upon leaving the company, and it was not paid out to me. In Colorado, is that supposed to be paid out? That's one other thing I was looking into.
Not necessarily. It would, again, that would, legal answer, it would depend on a number of different factors.
Give us an example in his particular case where he was a manager.
Well, if it says in the contract that you have that you're going to be paid out those amounts, then you need to be paid out those amounts.
But with no contract, even though the other managers got it, he couldn't demand it.
Not necessarily, no.
Wow.
In fact, probably not.
Sean, you work for both sides, don't you? You
yes,
work
he
for
does.
Employees and employers.
Yes, he does. That's why he knows. That's why he knows both sides. I mean, you need someone like that, because if I went to him as an employee, I would be happy that he knows the employer's stuff, because he knows what they can and cannot do, and he's not going to lie to me about it. Hold on, Sean. Let's bring up Glenn, who has a comment on tips. Go ahead, Glenn.
Yeah, I've been in the restaurant business most of my life, and what might be happening is a server is changing the tip amount. Management may not be aware of it.
Oh,
or
yeah.
They look the other way.
I would guess that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah, by the way, Sean, this has not to do with labor law, but with a discussion we had on waiters adding tips to the ticket. Now, with waiters and waitresses, by the way, Sean, and hold on, Glenn, Sean, minimum wage doesn't apply, right?
Well, they have to make minimum wage when you combine their tips and the wage that the restaurant is paying.
All right. So that includes tips. Now, Glenn, you're saying that we didn't imply that the restaurant is doing it. We probably are almost sure that individual servers are.
Scrupulous character, yeah.
So what I would do is I would call the credit card company, get it changed, and then I'd call the restaurant, too, and let them know what's going on.
You know how much time that is for $1? It would drive me crazy.
Yeah, but man, I don't want to be charged more. I mean, I think it's just the principle of the thing bothers me right now. 303-713-TALK, 713-8255. We are talking drones. If you have any questions, I want to talk to Roy. Roy, you called in. Your mom called in yesterday. We wanted to talk to you directly. You bought a Jeep as is. Is that right?
Yes, that is right.
And you bought it from a private owner or a dealer?
It was a private owner.
Okay. When you were driving home, the hood flew up and cracked the windshield?
Yes, that is right.
Okay. And was the latch broken?
Yes.
On which side?
Both.
Both latches were broken?
Yes, they both broke off.
So, wait a minute. So you're driving along and they both broke? Did they snap or what?
Yeah, they snapped.
Were they cut off at the bottom or the top or what?
They were like cut off right in the middle.
That's weird. So the top part was missing, or was it still attached?
The top part is missing.
And how many miles on this Jeep?
About 122.
And you checked it before you left, right?
Yes.
Did you have the hood open?
Yes, he opened the hood. And the thing is, I don't know if he put the hooks on the hood correctly or if it was broken like that.
Well, he must have put the latches back on because it took force to snap them. If they weren't latched, they wouldn't be broken.
Yeah.
So he obviously latched it, but they failed. What I find shocking is that they both failed, unless one failed, and then that caused the other one to fail. So I'm not sure. On a used car purchase, I don't know if you can do anything about it, because it happened after you bought it. It's not like this guy knew it was a problem. You know what I'm saying? It's not like he caused it. What do you guys think, Mark? This is a weird one because they actually just broke.
Yeah, I don't think the seller's responsible.
No,
I think it really sucks.
Roy, I think it sucks, but I don't think you can hold this guy responsible. Do you think he knew there was a problem?
Yes, Tim, because after the accident, I called him on 3 different phones, and he blocked all 3 of them.
I called him, Tom, too, and I talked to him, and he said, I know sell car, I know have Jeep. Then he hung up.
Well, there you go.
I know sell car, I know have Jeep. Okay.
So even if he was responsible or knew at this point, I see no money.
Yeah, but this guy, maybe he was a crook.
Yeah, now that if
Roy,
that's
where'd you see the ad, Roy?
On Craigslist.
And you met the guy at a parking lot or what?
Yes, in a public garage.
Okay, and I'm wondering if this is one of these guys that probably rebuilds cars and sells them over and over. Did he say it was his own car or what?
Yes, he said it was his own.
But let's think reasonably. He drove there and met the guy, and the hood never flew up. So, I mean, who's to say? How would you possibly prove?
Yeah, Roy, why do you think he's responsible? If you're just driving down the road and the latch breaks, which causes the other latch, they just fail, why do you think it's his fault? Just out of curiosity.
I don't know, Tim. I think he's guilty because we called him about 3 times. He told us what happened,
just because he's blocking your number, you think he's guilty? See, here's what I think. Let's just say, Roy, let's say you sold a Jeep. Okay, let's just say you sold it, and somebody bought it from you, and they're driving down the street, and the hood breaks. You wouldn't be responsible. Here's the deal. We have to figure out why you think he's responsible. I'd like you to be able to get your money back, but how long after was it that it broke?
It was about 30 minutes after we bought the car.
God, that's so coincidental, though, Mark. Isn't that weird? Why? But I just think it's bad luck. I don't know what else to say.
I don't know how we'd go about proving it because that guy drove it there.
Okay, we have somebody who wants to correct us on some drone information, and we'll do that coming right back. Let's talk now to Brent Ivinson at Ideal Home Loans. Closing in 3 weeks or less. Is that even possible, Brent?
It is, Tom. We've looked at how can we give buyers out there an advantage not to get caught up in the bidding war. And we have a pre-approval process, but that doesn't necessarily help somebody that's under contract right now or about to go under contract. So what we're able to do, we have the capacity, since we're a direct lender, we have the staff to handle the volume to be able to close loans in just 3 weeks. That way you can let speed do the talking when you write your offer, rather than overpaying for your next house.
And that is an absolute advantage when you do that. And the pre-approval is so important. Now, of course, they can help you with refinancing as well, and they can help you with picking your own loan term of any time. You don't have to have 30 years. You don't have to have 20 years. You don't have to have 15. And they can help you with, of course, the interest rate guarantee when you finance with them, whether it be a purchase or a refinance. 303-867-7000. 303-867-7000. IdealHomeLoans.com. Okay, let's talk about another kind of loan, and that's approval reverse mortgage. Reverse mortgages are only for a few people, okay? Like loads of people would need Ideal. Only a few of you would go to approval reverse. 62 or older, plenty of equity, and you want to use the equity while you're alive. Just get used to that, because it will eat up equity. Now, sometimes it's a good idea, sometimes not. Joan Sullivan will take a look at your portfolio and tell you if it's a great retirement tool or not. And I trust her to give you an honest evaluation. ApprovalReverse.com, 303-771-3528.
From the L&L.
Is brought to you by Lifeline. Travel around the metro area freeways in pretty good shape as the lunch hour continues on this Tuesday. It looks like that early.
And then what are we going to do plumb line?
Near the Dayton Bridge, off to the shoulder in the final stages of being cleared. Still hasn't improved the back up there just because southbound 225 is always pretty heavy between the Spillway and I-25.
We'll get a time, we'll go down there and shoot it. It's going to be great, man. I love every part of this. I do, I love this.
West of the tunnel. The weather forecast. Afternoon showers and thunderstorms possible.
This week is filling up for you right now.
It's not going to be this week. It's going to have to be next week.
Monday will be fine.
That's what I really like.
630K how? Do you use
And then my only Napa might fix this before they do, but I don't care.
Yeah, but they may not do the story. With Napa fixes.
Yeah, well.
I'll ask.
A teacher, a coach, a mentor, or all of the above. And that means you know things.
Okay, I'll ask. Thanks.
Things like
Bye.
Because when
No idea how that person got my number. I'm getting a lot of questions about there's shotgun shells now with weighted nets to shoot drones down. And then I'm getting a lot of questions about, is it legal to shoot a drone down that's flying over your property?
No. You take all those
No, it depends where you live.
Can we talk about that a little? I mean, I'm getting tons of that.
I was going to bring that up in the last guy, but yeah, it's
I could shoot one down over mine.
Yeah, it's an aircraft.
You're telling me if one's hovering by my bedroom window, I can't go hit it with a baseball bat?
A guy called and says, I have a neighbor who's flying one on by my bathroom window at 3 in the morning.
I don't even understand where that's going.
It would just be like shooting down your helicopter. Right now, the FAA has authority over that, and it becomes federal. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
See, they want it.
See, I'm even good out there. Sit here and do the hook.
No. Beautiful.
Oh, Mark, sit here and do that hook. Right here. Right here. Sit here. You got to do it. You don't look like this.
You got to do it left-handed.
Left-handed. That's the hard part.
Tom's doing it left-handed.
He's ambidextrous.
Let Pro Auto Care be your car nanny, because Al Aramis and his gang will take care of your car and give you gentle reminders whenever anything is due. And, of course, if you have a sudden problem and you need help immediately, of course, give them a call, 303-PRO Auto. Now, let me tell you about Pro Auto. They can take care of all makes and models, and all of their mechanics are ASE certified. He's been around 25 years. And you don't survive 25 years with the same company by doing bad work. By the way, he has the morality and ethics that you want, along with the skill. And he is available to talk to you personally on any issues. He's been part of my referral list, and he's been part of Car Day on this show for years and years. Give him a call to get started with Pro Auto Care with free roadside assistance in between all repairs. 303-776-2886. That's 303-PRO Auto. That's the easy way to remember it. 303-PRO Auto. And the website, 303proauto.com. You know, when we were talking about ideal home loans, going out and getting pre-approved, I should throw in there that you can't do better than Frank Duran, the real estate man, on your side to look for homes. I've used them. Mark's used them. Everyone we know, we refer to Frank Duran, therealestateman.com. Now, if you want to list your home, you get a free house cleaning. You get marketing beyond compare and what he calls outbound marketing, where he calls prospective buyers. He does proactive outbound marketing. 303-920-1622. And he never holds you to a contract. He believes he has to earn your trust every day. 303-920-1622. FrankDuranHomes.com as well. So let's talk about shooting down drones. Jeff is with us. Jeff Cozart with Juniper Unmanned. They are basically a professional consultation company, would you call it, Jeff, when it comes to drones?
That's right. We enable people, especially commercial organizations, to operate safely, effectively, and in compliance with the law.
Now, Tom wants to know about shooting them. Is that right, Tom, or not?
No.
Oh, somebody else wanted to know about it. Facebook question.
How to restrict flying.
Oh, you want to know, can you restrict the airspace near your home?
Well, it's a park that I operate. It's about 2 square miles.
Oh, what is this park?
It's a state historic park.
Well, I think that's automatically, on some charts, historic landmarks and parks are protected from all flyovers. Are you seeing a lot of drone activity?
Yeah, and for several reasons we don't want it. I'll just put it that way.
Jeff, isn't the problem the identification, right? I mean, even if it was restricted, how do you enforce it?
Well, the part of the problem here, though, too, is that people will think that the airspace over their private property is their own private airspace. But the public policy, at least under the FAA's rules and guidelines, is that airspace belongs to the public.
Right, it does.
So it's managed by the FAA, and we don't have the right to restrict the airspace above any of our property.
Neither does,
and that creates a lot of challenges in our public policy right now.
Yeah, neither does a city or county technically. But here's what I want to ask though. Let's say he is restricted because of the fact that, let's say he's an historic landmark, let's say, or some kind of park. How do you even enforce that restriction? With an aircraft, you can copy down the N number. What do you do with a drone? You can't do anything.
Well, it is very difficult to identify operators sometimes, but typically you're looking for people that are operating from the ground in close proximity to the flight. So it's not impossible to identify.
Yeah, except some of them are miles away, literally miles away. You know, let's talk to Doug, who wants to correct some information. He says, "Go ahead, Doug."
Hey there, Tom. Couple things. One is that I'm a licensed man pilot. I'm also a licensed drone pilot. Been doing it for many years. We were talking about dropping things. Drones and RC aircraft operate from the same. They're considered aircraft, so they come under the federal regulations where you can't drop anything from them. You can land and let go of something, but you can't actually drop it while it's in the air. You also can't shoot at it. You can't try to take it down in any form at all. That's considered a federal offense.
Well, the RCs are not registered. You said they operate under the same...
Doesn't matter whether they're registered or not. They're considered aircraft. So they're under the same rules. Then the other thing about flying...
Well, hold on. Just wait a second. So you're telling me then, if I operate an RC aircraft, I have to follow the same rules as the drone?
Yes.
I don't know if that's true or not, because the RC guys that I know were bragging that they don't have the registration, nor do they have the same rules that the drones do.
Well, for recreational use of a drone, it operates under Part 101, which is where RC aircraft. A drone is an RC aircraft. It's radio controlled.
Right.
Most of them have the ability to operate autonomously, but they're still radio controlled. And so as a hobbyist, they operate under those rules, and you still can't go shoot them down or damage them or do anything else with them. Also, of course, if the drone crashes into you, you can sue the heck out of whoever did that. The second thing I wanted to talk about was flying within 5 miles of an airport, which is kind of an interesting thing. As a hobbyist, you can fly within 5 miles of an airport, but you are controlled airspace, let's use that term. But you have to call and notify the authority for that controlled airspace that you're going to be doing that. Now, they can't tell you no. You can actually go do it.
What happens if it's a little airport and there's no authority?
You can actually do what? You can go into their airspace, or you can fly under the airspace?
Well, you can actually, let's say it's Centennial, as an example, 5-mile Class D. As a recreational flyer, I can go within that airspace and I can fly my drone as recreational. And all I'm required to do is pick up the phone, call the tower, as an example, and say, hey, I'm going to operate here at 200 feet starting at this time. You're supposed to do it prior to flying. The caveat to that is, though, that under Part 101.41, you cannot interfere with any manned aircraft. But you don't have to technically get permission from them. As a matter of fact, they can't give you permission. But you do have to notify them. Under Part 107, as a commercial operator, yes, you have to have permission, not from the tower. You have to have permission from the FAA. You have to go to their website. You have to fill out their little waiver form telling, what altitude you're going to be at,
So Jeff, as a recreational pilot, he's saying you don't have to be 5 miles away from an airport. You can operate recreationally, and they can't deny it.
There are rules still that apply to the recreational pilot, as Doug correctly identifies. There's another Section 333 of the FAA's Reauthorization Act in 2012 governs the use of the recreational aircraft, and there's a set of rules there that's very similar to the Part 107 for commercial operators. And I believe he's
except
right
that you don't need permission.
I believe that is absolutely.
So can
right.
I fly my drone right here in the tech center?
Yes, you can. As long as you notify Centennial and you let them know you'll be doing it.
So I can do that, guys?
And it still has to be under 400 feet.
You have to stay under 400 feet. You have to notify them, and you cannot interfere with any manned air traffic with Centennial.
When you inform them, do you have to be specific on where you're going to be flying and to what altitudes and all of that and a time?
There's not a requirement necessarily to be specific, but you're going to tell them, hey, I'm going to fly this, and I'm going to be, in the tech center close to whatever building, and
they can't deny you.
That's correct.
So, Mark, they were wrong, these people that said you could not fly.
Yeah, they said I couldn't fly it here. They were all garbage. Now, how about the little rule that says you can't fly over people? How would you ever know at 400 feet if you're over somebody?
Well, I mean, that's a tricky thing. Obviously, if you're flying over, a concert, you're over somebody. If there's one or two or three people sparsely out of a
Boy, I didn't even think of that. A concert, like Red Rocks, you bring it out there, you get the best thing of the van, you put some good recording devices on there.
Go online.
Concert.
Go online, check them out.
Except Red Rocks is a park, and I think it's a Colorado state park, and there is a ban on flying drones within a state park. So therefore, you have to get a waiver from the Parks and Recreation Department in order to do that.
I'm going to bring mine out tomorrow, man. Let's go flying again.
So what you're saying is there aren't many restrictions.
There's not a lot of restrictions.
At all?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Well,
to some degree,
you notify them, and you stay under 400 feet.
Well, what's killing me is last time we talked drones...
That's not a lot of regulation to me.
1 million people called up saying, you can't fly anywhere in Denver. Ah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of regulations, like here, Part 10, I got it right in front of me, 101.141. The aircraft is operated in a manner that does not interfere with and gives way to manned aircraft.
No, I understand that, but under 400 feet in the tech center or anywhere around Denver, you can pretty much stay away from manned aircraft.
That's correct.
Yeah, I mean, so it doesn't sound highly restrictive to me. Hold on here. We got to take a quick break. I mean, it's really important. Plumbline Services is offering new furnaces along with an AC system matched together for more than $2,000 in savings. Call for details, okay? It includes a Plumbline discount. It includes special discounts for high-efficiency systems and free accessories as well into that value and 10-year parts and labor warranty. That's valued at about $900. I think it's more. I mean, really, it's the labor that costs, sometimes not the parts. And for 10 years, when these guys come out, you pay for nothing, parts or labor, and then you have $1,370 in utility company rebates, and you have 0% financing for 3 years. By the way, if you do need this and you have challenge credit, they also have a financing plan for you. So take advantage of that, and along with free second opinions with any major repair, it could save you a ton of money because Plumbline Services is honest, ethical, guarantees satisfaction, and will always quote prices up front. 303-586-1086. 303-586-1086. PlumlineServices.com.
This report is brought to you by Discover Student Loan.
The highway drive looking pretty good across the metro area, with the exception of a crash that just occurred eastbound I-70 at Lowell. Not seeing any major backups yet.
There's a lot of rules.
Well,
no, there are. Now all of a sudden there's no rules.
Yeah, but consider this: if you're flying on a route, right, and you're on with FAA, they're going to always make sure you're clear 3 miles. And
you said that the RC guys want nothing to do with drones. You saying they're exactly the same regs.
RC guys are running, trying to keep their.
But he said they're exactly the same. The rules. Exactly
Why wouldn't they be? They should be, right?
Well, he said they are. I mean, I don't know if he's telling the truth. I mean, I'm looking at here at the part he said and it says even fucking kites are part of it.
Kites.
I'm telling you. Or unmanned rockets, the little rockets that we fly.
Oh, the little.
Oh, so when you and Jay shot off those rockets, you were breaking the law.
Well,
Did you go over 400 feet?
If it's up to 400 feet.
oh yeah.
Otherwise, you have to get permission with the rockets.
Scoff law.
Have you ever gone to one of those huge rocket shoot-offs where they're shooting these things up to 10,000
I spent like $150 on one, built it, shot it off, never saw it again. I was so pissed.
Could you see it?
No. It went so high, I completely lost it, completely gone.
There was that 737 that landed with that rocket sticking out.
Why not get a more complete story to help protect your identity? At LifeLock, we detect a range of identities. If you have a problem, one of our U.S.-based specialists
so what does it mean to be
no one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions in all businesses.
Interrupting
but LifeLock gives you more than you get from just monitoring.
That to be within 3 miles.
Membership starts at $9.99 a month plus applicable
So that's how
taxes.
it
Join now for 10% off.
There was a town here in Colorado that allowed you to
That's promo code.
Deer Trail, Colorado.
that you could shoot drones. Remember that?
Shoot your own what?
You could shoot drones down.
Well, they were authorizing licenses for
drone hunting.
Drone hunting.
Get your tickets
Bounty
now at
hunting.
MightyMillionsRaffle.com.
I was actually asked to be on.
Did you know that most duct cleaning companies only clean your air ducts? And B's Air Duct Cleaning.
So it sounds like in Franktown, I'm fine. I can fly wherever the hell I want anytime I want.
Well, it's a site, but man, I mean
That's where they get you. But why isn't it considered in sight if you've got a camera on the drone and you're flying by drone?
Because you know what? You don't want to be the guy that brings down
Yeah, but if you've got cameras and sensors that don't allow you to hit others.
Yeah, but they're coming at you a lot faster than
But you're under 400 feet.
That's happening.
helicopters operate down
It's
there.
happening.
That's my story. Does that make sense?
If you're accused of a crime, any crime, of course you're going to need legal help. Now, I'm not here to sit in judgment. I'm just telling you that Joseph A. Lazara is a criminal defense attorney that is a great guy to have on your side. He has a firm large enough to take on the cases, small enough to give you the individualized attention you require and the communication that will keep you informed at all times. Now, most of his caseload has been DUIs and DWAIs because of alcohol and marijuana right now. And that's the easiest crime to avoid. All you have to do is get a designated driver or use public transportation or Lyft or Uber. The point is, if you're accused, it is not something you can do alone. It is a complicated system and a complicated set of laws. Joseph A. Lazara is here to help. 303-429-6200. 303-429-6200. You can find him on the referral list at referrallist.com. This is interesting. Jeff has a comment on the hood popping up on that Jeep. I'd like to know how the heck that happened. Go ahead, Jeff.
But, yeah, I had this thing happen to me one time, and I think you're missing the point.
What is that, sir?
I think the latch on the front probably didn't snap, and when that hood flew up then, when they got to going, then the hinges on the side.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Those other hooks are secondary or primary, but that safety latch failed first is what you're saying.
Yeah, his main latch,
in the center.
Looked at that engine, they didn't get it down good enough to make it snap, and it flopped up, and then his hinges broke, not his latch.
Because no, his hinge didn't break. He said his hooks broke. But I hear what happened. Maybe is there a center piece in that Jeep? The center one. And then the two hooks on the sides.
I think the newer ones definitely have you can pull it out.
I don't know.
Pops a little.
I don't think he said his hinges broke. I don't think he did. Maybe he did. So you're saying that center piece did not hold it.
Yes, right. And then as that hood flew up, I think the complaint is that I think he's just not getting it right. I think that those hinges on the side, they would have, on my Mustang that time, they pulled the lag bolts clear out of the hood.
Wow.
And it folded over and broke my windshield out.
Maybe that's what happened. But you know those Jeeps have hooks, right? You've seen Jeeps, the Wrangler with the hooks on the
both sides.
One on each side.
In the front.
Does it also...
kind of a racing type hook. I ended up putting them on my 66 Mustang. I put those safety latches with a cord, so that...
Right. Does it also have... But does that Cherokee also have that center latch, or does it just have the...
Wrangler, isn't it?
The Wrangler, I mean. Does it have...
I think that's an option, and I don't know. You don't see many of those with that safety unless they're off-roading and going over some rough terrain.
I'm not positive. But in any case, I don't think it's the seller's fault. That was the whole point. He thinks because he bought it 30 minutes ago, they should be responsible. I mean, yeah, it does seem like a terrible coincidence. Okay, we have Jeff Cozart with Juniper Unmanned on the phone, and we have John Lord with us here. And he is with AirSure Limited, does insurance for drones and aircraft. And Glenn's got a comment on drones. Go ahead, Glenn.
Hey, Tom. So I've done a lot of research on this as far as drones over private property, and I believe there may be some legal precedent in the state of Colorado to be able to restrict it.
Like how?
I don't remember the name of the case because I'm driving, can't look it up. I believe it's Clausen versus the state of Colorado. And essentially what happened is a guy had some private land with a small river that ran across it. Another person used a kayak or a canoe or whatever to use the river across his property. The owner had him charged with trespassing. The person's defense was, I wasn't on his property, I was over his property. He was found guilty of trespassing, but the key was the judge said that because the river was considered a non-publicly navigable waterway, that it was trespassing. So the restriction, the way that I read the restriction under 400 feet is under 400 feet is not publicly navigable airspace. So in theory, that could be argued that under that same precedent.
Yeah, you're saying he's not in airspace. I don't think it belongs to the homeowner, but it's intruding on his privacy is what I think.
Yeah. So and that's one of those things where somebody's just going to have to get charged, and it's going to have to go through the process to see if it sticks or not. So.
From a social perspective, there are so many things that have yet to be determined in this industry. Precedents will be set left and right.
Yeah.
The last time this was tested was 1946, when a case went to the United States Supreme Court. There was military aircraft that were operating over a person's private property, and the Supreme Court did rule in favor of the private property owner at 83 feet. But they left sort of the principle of it open, and so like John Lord mentioned, this hasn't been settled. It's not settled in the federal courts. There are a number of cases in the state courts. There was one recently in Kentucky where somebody shot down a drone, and the court actually ruled in favor of the person that that shot down the drone. And but those cases haven't made it to the federal courts, and I think that's where
it's new law. It's all new.
Has to be set.
It's all new law because there are no precedents, as you said, Glenn. Jeff, do you get questions about drones being shot at?
Yes, in fact, we've had drones shot at while we've been operating. Yes, and it's a fairly common and growing phenomenon.
And are you saying they can get in trouble for that because it's federal?
Yes, well, they can get in trouble for it. The most popular way they get in trouble is the illegal discharge of the firearm. But more commonly, as it relates to the airspace, if they were to destroy the person's property, being the drone, that they would be responsible. The person that's shooting is responsible for the destruction of that property. There hasn't been any cases that I'm aware of in the federal courts that have tested whether or not there's a trespass above a person's property.
It looks like it does fall under the trespass under Colorado law, but like they said, I don't see anything with federal law. The interesting part is it makes me think of marijuana, because under federal law it's illegal, of course, and under Colorado law it's not legal. It seems like the same thing.
Very, very similar. There's definitely a discrepancy between the state courts and the federal courts.
Of course there is. And it always has been when it comes to aviation, because you have federal versus state rights, and the federal government has been very staunch on claiming air rights and everything and anything in the air. We have open lines now for the first time today, 303-713-TALK, 303-713-8255. If you have any problems, questions, or complaints, or you want to talk about drones, where really is it going, the industry with drones? I mean, I basically see drones buzzing all over the place in the future, and I think it's going to be hard to keep track of. But if everyone has to have them in line of sight, that's the safety valve. But as soon as you start operating drones without seeing them, and that's what the Amazon drones and all of those would do, that's where, when these people start getting waivers, that's where it will get scary. Because you're going to look up and you're going to see, like, drones going back and forth, right? I mean, do you see that in the future?
Absolutely. And really, that's the big push out there in the industry is looking at systems that allow ATC to be able to see where every drone is as it's flying. ADS-B is one of the technologies. If you study the work that's going on for Amazon and how they're looking at establishing corridors in San Francisco, it's fascinating because it's going right down streets.
There might be drone, Jeff, do you see a time in the future there might be drone corridors just for drones?
Well, I definitely see that there has to be some sort of new way of looking at the airspace for the full value of drones to be realized. And you know, you think your point is about safety, right? And if once we have drones that are operating beyond line of sight that are heavy, maybe they're flying fast, maybe they've got rotors, there has to be some measure of consumer safety. And currently, under the federal regulations, the FAA is really not applying any safety metric whatsoever. They for the most part are saying we will allow drones to operate in areas that if they crash, they're not likely to cause harm.
Okay, well,
and that's the basis of the law.
I think that you're going to see messenger services more than anything. I can see one office communicating with another office as much as 100 miles away by sending a drone from point to point. Just programmed to go back and forth with messenger. Why use a messenger service? You load up a pouch and the drone takes it to your branch office. I mean, there are so many things that are going to happen. Guys, hang on the line if you're on the line about drones, and I promise we'll get to you. When you're looking for floor coverings, you're going to be overwhelmed with choices and places, and I'm going to point you to one place that can do it all. They'll get you the selection and pricing of big warehouses, but the personalized attention, design consulting, and project manager of a mom-and-pop operation to keep your project not only on time, but looking beautiful. And that's Paradigm Interiors. Paradigm Interiors. You got to visit these people. They've been in business serving the entire Front Range for 14 years. And it was started by Don and Matt, a couple of friends that have made a great business on Evans, just west of Santa Fe. You can call them or drop in their number, 303-630-9204. But they'll tell you the same thing I will. They have almost any floor covering you need, from waterproof carpeting to regular carpets to hardwoods, laminates, vinyl, and the new luxury vinyl tile LVT. It's beautiful, and it's a fraction of the cost of the other floors, but you can get it to look just like wood or just like stone. I absolutely love that stuff. And again, Paradigm Interiors is changing the way the floor business is going. You know, it used to be like this with that personalized attention. Then it went to these big mills and big warehouses where you're just a number. But these guys have put together a combination where they give you a little bit of both. Paradigm Interiors, 303-630-9204.
This report is brought to you by Discover Student Loans.
A nice wide open drive awaits
you as you hit the highways in the metro area right now. Lunch hour is smooth. So far, so good. There's a little crash westbound I-70 at Lowell. It's not causing any backups on the highway. Just approach with caution. The rest of I-70.
Surprised the guy hasn't called up yet.
Same with I-25. Looking good.
With the old
north one through downtown into the tech center. Trouble-free on the turnpike.
Somebody's flying a drone over my pool. I'm going to shoot it out of the air.
Well, have to be showers are possible today with a high near 61. Right now, cloudy skies in Denver and 56. With your traffic and weather, I'm Pete Wagner, 630 K-How.
You think the government will get on the college talk? They don't. Mark, Wednesday was what again? Because now I just found out that that's when you want to do like STEM stuff.
Students get an
Tomorrow is budget day one,
Especially if someone, first time there's somebody.
right after the show.
Okay, let me see if I can relate it.
Or what time do they want you to come in? I mean, we're not gonna, I mean, they're right down the damn road on Saturday.
No, I agree. I mean, it's not gonna take someone very long.
But it's gonna take them, and it works gonna be, it brings down mortgage insurance.
With our low rates, that means you can
Right.
buy a $300,000
And that happens now, everything changes now.
and pay
FAA gets funding.
paying for rent.
You're right, it all changes.
895-0500 to find out why more Coloradans are using affordable interest mortgage to refinance or purchase their next home. We will listen to you, and we will personalize your loan to fit your lifestyle. We offer you a paperless loan process, a fast close, and up-to-date communication throughout the process. 720-895-0500. Take AIM as your local entry. 720-895-0500. NMLS 298191. Regulated by DORA, Equal Credit Lender. iHeart.
You know, Stem Cell Institute of America
is having great success with their Denver lectures because they're doing it the right way. They're in town now, and they're talking to people who are suffering from osteoarthritis, whether it's your knee, low back pain, shoulder, joint pain, or neuropathy. I'm getting a treatment tomorrow. Now, I was supposed to get it last Thursday, and I had to delay it, so it looks like tomorrow, okay? Now, stop and listen, because you need to attend one of these educational seminars. They're not expecting you to make an appointment right away. They're saying you can find solutions to your pain with cutting-edge information if you go to one of these, and you're probably close to one because they have them in Denver, they have them in the Tech Center, Littleton, Boulder, and other areas. You need to attend. It could be a life-changing experience, okay? Call this number to find out more information and to make a reservation. There's no obligation whatsoever. 855-262-4040. That's 855-262-4040. Start living life again. Now, for information, if you want to see a cool video, it's at stemcelltherapyforpain.com. So, I'll check in tomorrow and let you know how it's going, or not tomorrow, but the next day, because it's going to be around 3 in the afternoon, and we'll talk about it. So, call 855-262-4040 for the next seminar. Hi, Tom Martino here. Welcome. We got some comments on drones. I'll bring up our expert, Jeff Cozart with Juniper Unmanned, and John Lord is with us as well, and he does insurance for drones. Is that a big business? Do they, mostly liability, I would imagine, right? I'll turn the mic on.
You're starting to see a lot more physical damage coverage for the industry as...
Are there deductibles?
Typically, it's 10%, or depending on, like my homeowners, I have a homeowner's policy on mine that covers it for $60 a year, zero deductible. So, yeah, I mean...
Is drone insurance expensive?
No. No. You're looking at, like I say, I spent $60 for the entire year for mine. And
for
that
recreation.
Physical damage, for recreation. On the commercial side, you know, any more...
Okay.
Yeah, very inexpensive.
Okay.
$1,000 or less.
George, what's your comment?
Well, I recently was reading some updates on the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works program that they've got, and for those who are
I don't know what that. I don't know what it is. What is that?
Skunk Works is a program that they've had for many years that explores really the most far-reaching ideas on technology. They use it for a lot for military purposes.
Is it like a think tank?
Yeah, essentially, but they're looking at really trying to integrate just far out there technology and just exploring it. All right, so I'm thinking one of the things that they're exploring is for military purposes where they have a manned aircraft that manages kind of automatically a fleet of drones working in concert for a single mission. And the idea is that what's beneficial there is it's a mission, of course, can be very dynamic. Situations change. Each drone would have different kinds of sensors in it. And those sensors and drones communicate with each other and with the manned craft, the piloted craft. So that automatically all that information gets integrated with the computer system and resets the mission. Now, that's for military purposes, but you could see how that kind of application might be used effectively not only for local police with a helicopter on board, manned helicopter, and a series, a group of drones, unmanned drones. Now, they may have other civilian applications as well, where you have different drones on a singular mission.
Like a team.
Yes, with different kinds of
sensors
I
understand.
all communicating, and based on what the sensor's feedback is, the mission for each particular drone might be changed a little bit.
No, I understand, George. Jeff, have you heard of team missions?
Yes, that's a very popular research project right now. Not only is Lockheed looking into that, the United States military, generally speaking, is doing a lot of work on drones operating where they communicate with each other and design their missions based upon a variety of factors that are dynamic.
What is your comment, Mike?
Yeah, Tom, great topic.
Thanks.
I would think that the technology be easily remedied with marrying cellular technology to drones so that
they have
a cell phone number is attached to that drone. And by triangulating with cell towers and GPS satellites, you could identify each and every drone, and then you could have drones that go out there and they would attack pirated illegal drones and remove them from the sky. But the FAA could easily track with just a cellular number and attach it to cell towers.
Well, you know what? They are using somewhat cell technology, so that's not impossible. Bill?
I'll be quick.
Go ahead, Bill.
What's going to happen, like everything else, these people are going to abuse common sense.
Like what?
Well, flying over some guy's wife while she's sunbathing.
Oh, yeah.
Just anything like that. I've got subsonic 22s that you can't even hear fire. I'll shoot them down.
Yeah, don't say anything. You know, they sell special shells for it.
I know. I've got them. I got pellet guns.
No, I mean special shells from a shotgun that I was told that shoots an array like a net to take them down. Jeff, thank you very much for being here. We certainly appreciate it. You're with Juniper Unmanned. And then if you're looking for insurance, Air Shore Limited. So that's it for the show. It's very, very interesting. Who knows where we're going with drones? One thing for sure, they're here to stay, and we're going to see more and more of them. Don't forget, referralist.com. Check out our Facebook, of course. It's Facebook/referralist. Save all your problems for me.
Do you have high-interest credit card debt or student loans and feel like you will never get ahead making the minimum payment every month? Hi, this is...
Why they didn't put 2 L's on it.
And probably you're right.
This is the 3rd time or 4th time I've started over with Facebook and still don't get the damn address right.
We're not going to do that again, though.
What do you mean, start over? Well, how about a troubleshooter one? Or should we keep one?
I think we just